Hello everyone, welcome to What If Ayanokoji joined Danganronpa's Killing Game movie. Before we start, please go support Jiken000 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Ayanokoji is a male. Kibougamine Koudo Ikuse Academy, an elite government school segregated from society, where those who graduate will have a hopeful future with a 99.9% chance of landing their dream job. The school has two classes. The reserve class, where the majority of students are enrolled. This class is divided into A, B, C, and D. Only those who graduate from Class A will be able to enjoy the hopeful future the school guarantees. And then there's the main class, the ultimate class, a group of talented individuals who are guaranteed a bright future after graduation. Come and discover the student life of these young people full of love, friendship, intrigue and hope. Prologue. Makoto Nigi's POV. Part 1. It was that April morning when all my nerves were at their peak. Kibougamine Koudo Ikuse Academy, that elite academy, the one that brings hope for the future. Graduating guarantees your dream future. It's incredible and normal that not everyone can enter, however, how did someone as normal as me manage to do it? I looked at the paper in my hands as I got on the bus. I had been selected for the main course, for the ultimate course, ultimate lucky one, that was the title that was given to me. But I'm not lucky. Today I woke up late and almost didn't make it to the bus on time. Also yesterday while I was walking I was almost hit by a luxurious black car. Somehow I came back to my thoughts in time to see an argument between an office worker and a well-dressed blonde-haired young man sitting in the priority seat. His uniform told me he was a high school student. The clerk was standing next to him. An old woman was standing next to her. Don't you see that the old woman has problems? The office worker seemed to want me to give up the priority seat to the old lady. On the silent bus, his voice grew louder and attracted the attention of others. That's a crazy question, ma'am. The boy smiled and crossed his legs. Why should I give this seat to an old woman? There's absolutely no reason for me to give it to her. Isn't it natural to give priority seating to the elderly? I don't understand. Priority seats are just priority seats, and there's no legal obligation for me to move. Whether I move or not should be decided by me, who's currently in this seat. Would you give me your seat? Because I'm a young man? Hahaha, that's a stupid way of thinking. It's a way of speaking that one wouldn't expect from a high school student. His hair is dyed blonde, and there are some unexpected features for a high school student. I'm a healthy young man. I certainly don't find standing inconvenient. However, it's obvious that standing will consume more physical strength than sitting. I don't want to do such a useless thing. Or perhaps you're telling me to be more lively and energetic. What kind of attitude is that towards your superiors? Superior? It's obvious that both you and the old woman have lived longer than me. There's no doubt about it. However, that superior refers only to age. Besides, I have a problem with you. Even if there is an age difference, isn't that a terribly rude and impertinent attitude? Are you a high school student? Honestly, listen to what the adults are saying. Okay. The office worker was agitated, but the elderly woman didn't want to escalate the situation. She tried to calm her down with hand gestures, but the office worker continued insulting the high school student and seemed on the verge of a rage. Apparently, the old lady listens better than you do. Oh, dear, I suppose. Japanese society isn't completely useless yet. Enjoy the rest of your life with all your heart. The young man's arrogant smile annoyed the office worker. The situation would be resolved by simply raising your hand and saying, "Here you go." The elders would also calm down. However, like everyone else on the bus, I didn't move, unsure if I should. Looking around, people pretended not to have noticed anything or had a hesitant look on their faces. No one thought of giving up their seat, so I acted. Oh, here's a seat. I finally agreed to give up my seat. Thank you. When the office worker lowered her head with a big smile, she pushed through the crowd and carried the old woman to her seat. Thank you, really, thank you very much. Calm down, please take a seat. The old woman thanked me over and over again, then sat down. After that I approached the blonde. I felt the gaze of the people fall on me. Makoto Nigi, nice to meet you. I introduced myself with my best smile. I felt like people were giving me strange looks when I offered my hand. Please tell me I didn't just mess with a gangster or something. Oh. He looked at my hand, murmuring with interest. After a moment of thought, he extended his hand. Rakusu Kmenji, the pleasure is yours. He replied arrogantly as he took my hand. I just laughed nervously. Now I understand why the argument was happening. Somewhat nervous, I felt an annoying look, so I turned to that side. However, I only saw a boy with slightly reddish-brown hair, possibly due to the light, who quickly closed his eyes. I decided to ignore him and looked back at Kmenji. And Kmenji-kun is part of the Kibougamine Koudo Ikuse Academy. Just call me Kmenji, your highness works too. It's okay, Kmenji. And answering your question, yes, I am a new student at the academy. Wow. I'm a new student too. Kmenji looked me up and down, possibly analyzing me to see if I was telling the truth. That's where I noticed it. Ah. The reason I don't have a uniform is. You're from the main class, right? Yes. And what is your talent? Ultimate lucky why? I see, lucky boy. He closed his eyes with a smile, satisfied at being right. Blue, lucky boy. My question went unanswered and I didn't speak to him again until we got off the bus. He interrupted the conversation between a black-haired girl and the brown-haired reddish guy who had been looking at me before. The look that girl gave me was very sharp, I'm sure she would stab me with a compass if she had one. I left as quickly as I could with Kmenji, but as I left, I noticed a second gaze that wanted to attack me. I quickened my pace. Part 2. Well, we part ways here, lucky boy. Said Kmenji, who went to form up with the other students of Group 1D. I regret telling you that I am the ultimate lucky one. After parting ways with Kmenji, I went to form up with 15 other students who were ahead of the first-year students. I felt nervous, after all it was the first day, and I didn't know if I would be able to fit in with so many talented people. I don't want to spend 3 years alone. Well, if things get really bad, I already have Kmenji, however, after just a few minutes of talking to him, I already know that Kmenji is very Kmenji. So I'd rather not resort to that. Once the principal finished speaking, we were allowed to go to our classrooms, however, when we tried to break ranks, a teenager dressed in a white coat covered in vivid pink bloodstains approached us. Hello, Class 78. My name is Kateshi Kakato, a student of Class 77, and the ultimate hematologist. Our senpai introduced himself. My apologies if I don't look very presentable, I was in the lab doing some tests until recently, and I remembered that I had to take the new students tour. Hahaha, what things, huh? Some of us laughed with him almost out of obligation as we nodded. Well, follow me. After saying that he headed outside, towards another building a little far away. To get to that building we had to go through a large gate guarded by many guards, and with an immense wall, it seemed too protected. Could we really be here? As you know, definitive students receive more favorable treatment than reserve corps students, so we have our own facilities, and only authorized personnel are allowed in. And who is this authorized personnel? Asked a girl with purple hair. The director, permanent students, teachers and necessary staff, anyone authorized by the director, a teacher or someone accompanied by a permanent student may also enter. The guest in question is 100% responsible for who invited him, so make sure you know who you bring into the facilities. After saying that, Kateshi-senpai began showing us the facilities. It was truly incredible. There were classrooms, a well-stocked cafeteria, all kinds of labs, different types of courts, a gym, a swimming pool, a recreation room, and more. All you find here are private facilities for the definitive students, unlike the facilities in the small town built within the academy, these can be used for free. Everyone let out small excited screams, except for the purple-haired girl who again asked a question. If we bring a no here, can he use the facilities? Unfortunately not, they could only use the facilities with the director's permission. If they were allowed to use the facilities for free, then there would be no point in placing stalls around the school. Everyone would come here. Accepting that logic, we continued the tour. Excuse me. The little girl dressed in a green skirt spoke a few minutes later. Yeah? Why haven't I seen any adults here? That's because to encourage student autonomy there isn't much staff, except for teachers, the principal, security guards and occasional people who clean up chemicals or get rid of debris and check for structural damage to the building. For example, in the cafeteria the ingredients are there, but you have to prepare what you want to eat. The same goes for cleaning, each group is assigned a particular area and they have to clean it. I see. They also explained to us about the S-system and how the definitives have privileges, how we have an apartment building separate from the one for the reserve class members, how we will be isolated from the outside, and so on. And the most important thing about both the points and the S-system is that everything in this school can be purchased with the points they give you. Finally, at the end of the tour, the senpai left us in front of our living room. That concludes our tour. The ultimate tour guide is busy, but I hope I've been a good replacement. If you ever need help, like a good senpai, I'll do my best for you. He sneered and then walked away waving his hand. Is there really such a thing as the ultimate tour guide? A red-haired fellow student whispered. We said goodbye with a smile, and finally the 16 of us entered our respective classrooms. There was a blond man lying on his desk with a metal container in one hand. We proceeded to sit each in the place that had our name on it. Mine was the second to last seat in the second to last row. In front of me was a blond boy with glasses, and to my left was Nigi-kun. Ma, Mizono-san. The ultimate idol. Nigi-kun. Mizono-san. Yes, yes, good that you know each other's names, now stop shouting, my head hurts, interrupted the blond man who stood up from his desk. My name is Koichi Kizakura, and I will be your homeroom teacher. Kateshi should have explained everything by now. Blah 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 Electroid blah 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 research labs, blah blah system S blah 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 200,000 points. Blah 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 facilities blah blah point transfer blah 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 no bullying blah 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 responsibility blah 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 you lose points for blah 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 you have the day off, just make sure to attend the entrance ceremony. After saying all that, he took a sip from his bottle and leaned back on his desk. Silence fell over the room after that, everyone looking at the others, noticing the seating arrangements that had been made. I think we should introduce ourselves, I said, breaking the silence. Everyone was now looking at me, so I couldn't help but gulp. I guess I'll start. Nigi Makoto, ultimate lucky one, it's nice to meet you all. I leaned in more to hide my nervous face than to be respectful. It wasn't the best introduction, but it seemed to break the ice. I'll continue. Ms. Ono stood up, making me smile at her help. Ms. Ono Sayaka, ultimate idol, a pleasure, I'll be in your care. His performance provoked shouts of joy from all the children. I'll go, insisted Aritide, to which no one objected. I'm Kuwata Leon, ultimate all-star and future music star. Nice to meet you all, especially the pretty girls. Kuwata looked in Ms. Ono's direction and winked, bringing a smile to the idol's face. That hurt just a little for some reason. Wow, great Leon-kun, you're so amazing. One of the girls said in a completely emotionless voice. Really? Wow, I thought it was pretty good, but I'm amazing. Kuwata was embarrassed and smiled, slightly blushing. Suddenly, almost all the girls laughed, although Kuwata must be thinking that it was incredible, the rest of the boys watched with a little pity. Well, I'm coming. My name is Asahina Aoi, ultimate swimmer. I love donuts and making friends. I hope I get invited to fun places a lot, especially to the cafeteria. To eat donuts. Said the brunette with a smile. I'll do it. By the way, I'm Hagakure Yasuhiro, the ultimate seer. If anyone wants to know their future, you know who to turn to. From somewhere in his robes, he pulled out a crystal ball and held it up with a smile. You really accept that as a talent? Wow, that's incredible, the blonde said sarcastically. Isn't that incredible? He replied, oblivious to the sarcasm. By the way, are you Ayakuya Togami, heir to the Togami group and definitive heir? This will be one of the few times you will be able to interact with someone as noble as me, feel grateful commoners. Oh, what a handsome prince, said the girl who had previously made fun of Kuwata, drooling. And who the hell are you? You stink. He is. She exclaimed, frightened. No, forget it, she was excited and drooling even more. She noticed me. I'm Fukawa Toko, ultimate rider. You stink. Is. But hygiene is part of the school rules. Please come tomorrow with a more hygienic attitude. Another of my classmates joined the conversation. He was dressed entirely in white and stood erect, like a soldier. By the way, it's a pleasure to meet you all. I'm the ultimate delegate. They also often call me the ultimate moral compass. I hope to get along with everyone and follow the rules together. Weirdo, why, you don't order me around, Fukawa complained under his breath. Despite smiling happily, not many were pleased by the mention of the word rules, so I intervened. You're very responsible, Ishimaru-kun. Amazing. Gee, thanks, buddy Nigi. He smiled at my sincere compliment. After that the presentations continued with cells, Fujisaki, Iwata, Agami, Yamada, Anishima and Mukuro. We all looked at the last one missing, that girl with purple hair next to me who kept looking out the window. I tried to get his attention. It's your turn. Is it mandatory to show up? No, but it would be nice if. Then no, he interrupted me. I won't show up. After saying that he took his things and left the place. You can't do that. We've all already introduced ourselves, you conceited girl. Complained a furious Anishima. His hair seemed to ruffle, but the lavender-haired girl just closed the door behind her. That was her response, a simple I don't care. Just because she's pretty she thinks she's the queen, Fukawa muttered. After that, the salon began to criticize the mysterious purple-haired girl, hurling all kinds of criticism and insults at her. In this atmosphere, Ms. Ono turned to look at me. Hey Nigi-kun, I think we should go, and I don't like this atmosphere. Me neither. I got up from there to leave with Ms. Ono. Chapter 1. Elite School of Hope. Makoto Nigi's POV. I spent some time with Ms. Ono at the Ultimate's private facility. I think she and I bonded a bit. It was amazing talking to my high school idol again, and the best part is, she remembers me. While we were talking, I could see through the second-floor window someone walking alone towards the outskirts of the building to Definitivos. It was the mysterious girl with purple hair. Ms. Ono said I must go. Where are you going? I want to go talk to her, I said, pointing in the direction she was going. Mizuno followed my finger until he found his way back to our companion. Oh, are you interested in her? I felt Mizuno's eyes go dark for a second before they came back. I thought for a few seconds what to answer, but in the end the answer came by itself. I want the class to be more united. I can't let her be left out. I didn't give Mizuno time to answer. I ran off toward my companion. Stop right there. I stopped when I heard the scream. I looked back to see Ishimaru approaching quickly, clearly annoyed. Comrade Nigi, I'm very disappointed in you. You should know that running in the hallways is against school rules. And, sorry. I bowed my head. It's okay, I just hope it doesn't happen again. Continue on your way to your destination. Ishimaru said goodbye with a military salute and waited for me to leave. I turned around and started walking quickly. Once I was out of the main building I ran towards the front. It took me a few minutes, but I finally caught up with her. Hey. She screamed at me and turned to look at me. Are you talking to me? Why, yes. I stopped when I was in front of her. Now that I see her properly, she's definitely very pretty. Nigi Makoto, right? Yes. Well. What do you want, Nigi-kun? Can I know your name? My name? Yes, it would be a little awkward to talk without even knowing your name. I didn't expect my excuse to work. I was just talking for the sake of talking. She hesitated a little, but finally opened her thin pink lips. Kirajiri. Kyoko Kirajiri. Whoa. What a nice name, I blurted out with a smile, then it's a pleasure to meet you, Kirajiri-san. HMP, he cleared his throat. Flattery's no good. I repeat my question. What do you need, Nigi-kun? Despite his words I could clearly see that he liked my compliment. Well Kirajiri-san, why did you act like that with the class? Hey? Why did you refuse to introduce yourself? That's it because I just didn't want to do it. Is there a reason for that? Do you dislike us? My concern seemed to reach Kirajiri, who opened her eyes a little wider for a second or maybe less. No, it's not that, my life simply doesn't allow me to tell others much about myself, so I prefer to stay away. I see. A life like that it's sad. If that's all then I'm leaving. I remained silent as I watched her turn around and start walking away. I have to say something, right? I can't just let her isolate herself, for her sake and for the sake of the class. I tried to think of suitable words, but in the end I could only say those that came from the depths of my heart. So I just have to find out, right? Huh? He stopped walking and turned to look at me in surprise, but his face immediately returned to its stoic state. If you can't tell me things about yourself, I'll just have to find out for myself, right? I don't recommend it, it will be very difficult. Maybe I should become the ultimate detective to do that, but I can tell you I'm going to do it, haha. His eyes widened when I laughed. What? A really bad joke. Maybe I should have said ultimate analyst or ultimate researcher. There was an awkward silence that lasted several seconds. It was the most awkward 10 seconds of my life. I won't stop you, do whatever you want. Well, how about we hang out before the ceremony, Kirajiri-san? I extended my hand. She seemed to hesitate, but in the end she gave me her hand. I could feel something rough but warm on my hand. It was Kirajiri's gloved hand. A change of scenery wouldn't hurt. Kirajiri and I hung out and I think we bonded a bit. It was a lot of fun. Part 1. First we went to the cafeteria where I wanted to show off my culinary skills. I may not be the ultimate chef, but I can make a delicious breakfast. So what do you want to eat? How about a ratatouille? My face changed in a second to a grimace of confusion. A ratatouille what? Kirajiri just let out a very small laugh similar to a whisper. Just kidding, I'll leave it up to you. Very well. And to drink? Coffee? I headed to the kitchen. Oddly enough, I had to scan my electroid to get in. This must be a security measure or something. They're making a Nigi-style omelette. I joked with her, not sure if she heard me or not. Several minutes later, having finished making 2 omelettes, I took the jar out of the coffee pot and 2 cups. I placed everything on a silver tray and left the kitchen. There, at one of the many empty tables, that beautiful girl with purple hair was waiting for me, looking at her electroid carefully. 2 cups of coffee and 2 Nigi omelettes, I repeated like a waiter as I served everything to the table. However, she didn't take her eyes off her electroid, which had all the functions of a phone. Hey Nigi. Why yes. I sat down in front of her. What do you think about the points? The points I asked and thought about it for a bit. Well, I think it's incredible. In my high school I only had a school grant of 5,000 yen, approximately $50. If 1 point is equivalent to 1 yen, it means that my grant multiplied by 40. It's incredible. Although it also scares me a little that someone without talent receives that amount. I scratched my cheek nervously. I see. And tell me, why do you think they gave us 200,000 yen, $2,000, just to get into this school? Well, isn't it because they're talented? Even so, if we add it all up, by the end of the school year, we'll each have received 7,200,000 yen, $72,000, or 115,200,000 yen, $1,152,000, for our class alone. We have to keep in mind that it could be 230,400,000 yen, $2,304,000, if our class had A and B groups like class 77. I remembered this morning. In front of the second grade senpais, there were 2 groups of ultimates instead of just 1 group like in our grade. I guess they have a lot of faith in us. So why do those in the reserve class also get a subsidy? Huh? They have it. How do you know? If you pay attention to our guide's words, you might come to the same conclusion. Their words. Unlike the facilities in the small village built within the academy, these can be used free of charge. Are you referring to the facilities around the academy? Kirajiri smiled, possibly satisfied by my deduction. That's right, reserve corps students need to pay to use those facilities, so they need points. And how many do you think they receive? For this school, let's say they get at least 100,000 points. If we do some simple math, 100,000 points multiplied by 40 students in each group, times 4 groups, for 12 months times 3 years they'll be at the school 576 million yen, $5,760,000, for the students currently in first grade. That's a huge investment. Kirajiri-san. Yeah? Are you by any chance the ultimate accountant? No. Why? Doing all those calculations in your mind, it's amazing. While I was in shock, she turned the screen of her electrode. The calculator was open, showing the last amount she told me. That's true, I forgot that the electrode features included a calculator. I don't think I'm cut out to be the ultimate detective, I whispered, disappointed. But like ultimate lucky, he mocked me with a smile. Huh? I'm glad to see her smile, even though it only lasted a second, as she immediately became serious again. Still, why did he find my joke funny this time? Back to the topic, Nigi-kun, that's a lot of money for mere students, there's something fishy going on here. What do you think, Kirajiri-san? I have different theories, but there isn't enough information to back them up at that moment. For the first time in the entire conversation, Kirajiri took a bite of her omelette. His face changed to one of total satisfaction. I'm glad you liked it. I smiled. The coffee is also good, not too sweet and not too sweet. We spent the rest of the time eating quietly until it was time for the ceremony. We both headed to the venue. Part 2. When we were forming up with our classmates, I could feel a sharp gaze. I gulped, it was like having a Shinigami standing over me holding a scythe high in the air. I slowly turned my head in that direction. It was the director. However, I didn't do anything to him. Why is he being so openly hostile toward me? Come on. Without taking it seriously, Kirajiri took my hand and we sat next to each other with the rest of class 78. I felt the hostility rising, so I tried to distract myself by talking to Kirajiri calmly. It didn't work. Finally, the appointed time arrived and the ceremony began. It was just the director, committee members, and high-ranking officials talking, thanking everyone about this and that. I almost fell asleep, and I would have if it weren't for the latent fear of that hostility that continued to silently seep from the director. When we were allowed to leave, most of us went to their rooms, others went in groups to karaoke or an arcade. For my part, I wanted to continue talking to Kirajiri because I had fun doing so. However, when we were outside that building, an arm went around my neck and grabbed me tightly. Ijichi was Hagakure. Tell me, are you going after the mysterious one? What do you mean, Hagakure-kun? Well, she left the hall and when we realized it, neither you nor Mizanachi were there, and now you arrive at the ceremony with her. Tell me, what were you doing? How do you know we're not at the entrance to the auditorium? Yujuju, Asahina told us that when she went to the cafeteria she saw you serving her an omelette and a coffee, then you both talked while you ate. Demons. Relax, you don't have to worry about anything. Thanks. When I gave my answer, the fortune teller turned around, forcing me to do the same. Behind us, almost all the boys in my class were waiting, only the heir was missing. You know, guys, man code. He said, giving a thumbs up and nodding fervently. Everyone excitedly raised their thumbs as they responded. Rest assured, a man will never break his code. Iwata shouted. We abide by the male rules, Ishimaru continued, before turning his head to the ground and whispering. Well, I didn't know that rule until recently. I asked, how many rules have I been ignoring all my life? I'm so disappointed in my lack of knowledge, I must learn more. He clenched his fist and raised his face, filled with a renewed conviction to learn more. Ahaha. Good luck to you, buddy, you'll need it. Kuwata supported. Well, I think that was support. I'll encourage Mr. Nigi-kun to be lucky with his 3D crush. It may be a complicated and difficult path, but I know you can do it. I trust you. Once Yamada finished speaking, Hagakure wrapped her arm around my neck again. She lowered her head to my eye level. Guatachi goes by Mizanachi and I go by Asahinachi, remember to follow the guy code. Don't go after the same girl as your friend. But ta. No excuses, the code is sacred. By the way, she changed the subject incredibly brazenly, we were going to have some boy time. Are you coming? Yes, of course. I internally thanked the change of subject. Still Kawada's going after Mizono. That was surprising, and for some reason my chest tightened upon hearing that news. Together with the fortune teller, we approached a group of 5 kids, and then we all went out for a while to bond. We decided to go see a movie at the cinema first. I told you, let's watch that one. Yamada exclaimed, pointing at a really famous anime movie. I won't watch your anime nonsense. Let's watch that one. The all-star responded, somewhat annoyed. He wanted to see the latest American film. From the cover, I could see it was about a singer, a band, or something. TCH, you're both dumb. Let's watch that one instead. Iwata pointed to a movie with cars on the cover. It shows you cool cars and the value of family. And so we spent an hour. We all wanted a different movie. In the end, we decided to have a marathon this week, watching a different movie each day. Today, Iwata won the rock-paper-scissors game and we watched a car racing movie he wanted. It was truly amazing to see all the action. Although it seemed so unreal, Iwata boasted throughout the movie that he could do the stunts even better using his trusty motorcycle. I wouldn't be too surprised if he could do it. After leaving we headed back to our apartments, however on the way we got hungry, so we went into a convenience store along the way. We grabbed sodas, chips, and a few other things. The plan was to meet up at Hagakure's apartment. Hagakure said she had brought board games in her suitcases, which the school took away from us upon arrival, and supposedly arranged for us to put in our apartments. We got to the line and waited, a few minutes passed and the line didn't even move. Hurry up. Everyone's waiting. Iwata shouted. Oh, really? Tell them to complain to me directly. The first in line answered with a disgruntled face, he was squeezing the instant noodles with one of his hands. Iwata angrily left me his hyper-fast instant ramen and took a step closer. Well, here I am to complain. Oh, really? Repeated the boy wearing the red reserve course uniform. Yes, seriously. Really? Seriously? Really? Very seriously? Each time they responded they took a step forward, now their foreheads were pressed together as they stared at each other, I could feel as if there was electricity transmitting between them. I wanted to intervene, but I was afraid all that electricity would be directed at me. I didn't want to die after being struck by lightning. What's going on here? Chimed in the auburn-haired boy I ran into on the bus this morning. Oh? Who are you? Iridide must have mistaken him for another enemy because he shot him a lightning-fast glare. I was surprised to see that the boy's expression didn't change at all. I'm Ayanokoji from the same class. I spoke up because I thought there was trouble here. After explaining it, the Iridide lowered his voice as he understood the situation. Oh, I remember you. I forgot my electrode. I forgot that thing is basically money, phone, and everything from now on. To be honest, I also never got used to the fact that electrodes were required for every payment. If it's okay with you, I can pay for it now. It would be annoying if you had to go back and get it. The brown-haired boy who is apparently her partner proposed. That's true. It's annoying. It's good to have you here, thank you. I'm Sudu. I owe you one. Nice to meet you, Sudu. Ayanokoji took the instant noodles from Sudu, then walked over to the hot water dispenser. The dark-haired girl next to him seemed surprised to see this short exchange. Let's finish shopping. It would bother other students if we took too long. Iridide left the line and went with his companions. I sighed in relief that things didn't get any worse. My companions and I finished our shopping and quietly went out to the fortune teller's room. Before we left, I made sure to throw away the receipt so I wouldn't have any trash in my pockets. We spent 2 hours playing Monopoly. I have to say that all the trust and friendship disappeared as quickly as the game began. Although I started well, halfway through the game I fell into despair. For some reason Ishimaru had acquired 2 entire monopolies and was leaving us in poverty. However, I refused to lose hope. Mondo and Yamada had already gone bankrupt, so I looked to Hagakure. He and I teamed up to defeat this brutal opponent. We lost. Ishimaru took over the entire board and filled it with hotels. Part 3. In the end it was already night and when everyone was about to leave, Hagakure stopped us. Hey guys, before you go, do you want me to read your future? Just because it's you, I can give you your first reading for free. Haha. He showed off the crystal ball he had in class again, where the hell does he keep it? We all looked at each other, waiting to see who would accept. But no one offered. Why, I guess I could. Okay, let's go. He interrupted, flashing a big smile. He sat down on a chair and placed the crystal ball in the middle of the table. I walked over to the chair in front of him while my classmate stood in the doorway staring at us. So, what do you want to know, Najiki? I guess my future I think. I see, general reading, let's do it. Hagakure clapped, looked down and closed her eyes to start meditating. I stared at him silently trying to figure out what the hell he was doing. So? What do you see? I asked, trying to break the air of discomfort and seriousness that was forming. When he opened his eyes, I was a little startled. Hagakure was serious. This hadn't happened at any point today. Najiki, are you involved in something shady? Or did you do something like touch a dangerous criminal's balls or something? No, I didn't do that. In that case it's strange. Very strange. What the hell did you see, Hagakure? Yamada, unable to contain his nerves, joined in the conversation. Did Mr. Nigi-kun upset the Yakuza? At that moment I remembered Kamenji and swallowed without realizing it. Is he a member of the Yakuza? And what's worse, did I end up bothering him? Suddenly I started thinking about my actions this morning again. I really have bad luck. I looked at Hagakure worriedly hoping she would deny Yamada. I can't deny it, I'm quite dead, however I don't think that's it. Why not? Kuwata asked, his concern for me cheering me up a bit, or well, maybe it's concern that he's a collateral victim because he's my partner. I prefer to think it's the former. The emotion I felt in my vision, it was strange, there was fear and danger, no doubt, but what I felt most was not that. Tell us what the hell it was. Iwata couldn't contain himself any longer. It was desperate. That vision is certainly filled with despair. Despair? I didn't understand what he meant by despair. What did you see? I saw Najiki, sitting on a black and white checkered floor, his legs covered in bright pink blood, and in his arms was a very blurry, somewhat grey person. Above them, red lights revealed a two-colored bear laughing maniacally. Nobody said anything. What the hell is that stupidity? That doesn't make sense. It was a disappointment to have expected something from a fortune teller. I won't be commenting, I'll continue to stay out of it. Despite receiving all those words from the other boys, Hagakure continued to look at me seriously. What exactly does that vision mean, Hagakure? Let's take it one at a time, he said thoughtfully, interlacing his fingers in front of his face, covering his mouth. First of all, the person in your arms. You said that person was grey and very blurred, right? Yeah. But I don't know anyone grey. Najiki, visions aren't always literal. I suspect that person is someone you only know by name and or appearance, which is why they're blurred. And what about the grey? The grey, that must be because you don't know its true colors. His true colors? His personality. I see, and what about my legs? Your legs were bloody and full of cuts, that could mean impotence. Impotence? That you can't act, you can't get up, you can't fight. The bear is what puzzles me the most. The red roof could be described as a dangerous situation, or just the lighting in the place is already like that, but that bear, I can't understand it. We all remained silent, we were surprised and scared, more the latter, of the professionalism that the fortune teller demonstrated in these moments. Don't you think it could be something literal? Calm down Najiki, you won't face a real bear. Well that makes me happy. The bear, loyal, wise, and strong. Two-toned, that means it has both evil and goodness, that it's in balance. Sorry Najiki, I can't think of much. Just be careful, okay? Understood, I'll do it, I replied, somewhat nervously. Gee, thanks for your advice. You're welcome, That's what friends are for. Hagakure originally wanted to charge me, but after what happened, her mouth was left with a bitter taste, so she chose not to. Okay, now we're off, the other boy said awkwardly as they left the room. Wow man, that was so strong. That's right, what happened to Mr. Nigi-kun? Is he in conflict with the Yakuza? How scary. Maybe he's a member of a different biker gang. If so, I must beat him up. I think it could be that genocider. I heard the boys' murmurs as they walked away. I think they're going to start rumors about me. I was terrified of getting hit by Mondo, but luckily I'm not a biker. I sighed heavily and prepared to leave, however. Wait, Najiki. Hagakure took my arm. Hey? There's something I didn't tell you while they were here. It's important. Something important. Yes, I think I'll tell you. It's really important. It's your decision whether you share this information with anyone else, but I don't recommend it. Why not? Sorry, he shook his head from left to right in a sign of denial. But we seers can't tell everything we see, or we might change events and receive a curse from the great gods of fate. He lowered his head, silently apologizing. Hey? I didn't understand. It's like this I see. Thanks for understanding, Najiki. I knew you would. He returned to his smiling state. That's why I'm going to tell you everything I can. Please do it. At one point in the vision all I could see was black hair, then a silhouette. The silhouette. The completely black silhouette, its eyes glowing crimson while behind it an antique clock slowly moved backwards. A deus ex machina. Hey? The clockwork god. He looked in my direction and spoke to me. The god spoke to you? Yeah, it's like he knew I was watching him from the past. He only told me one thing. That. Don't hesitate, actor, time will run out. Don't bore me. Hagakure's serious look showed that she wasn't joking. I know you don't understand much, Najiki, but please think about this seriously. This is serious. It was at that moment that I noticed something. The seer's hand was shaking. Very serious. I understand, I will, thank you for your help, Hagakure. I gave him a smile that seemed to reassure him a little. As I walked toward my room, I thought very seriously about everything Hagakure had told me. I understood only one thing. I was definitely in trouble. When I realized that I was deep in thought, I ended up outside the apartments. I didn't give it any importance and continued walking. I didn't understand half of what he said. Gray person. Two-colored bear. Deus ex machina. It's so confusing. Ow. I exclaimed as I collided with someone. I fell to the ground and looked at what I had collided with, or rather who. Ikisaba-san. At that moment I felt a strange taste in my mouth, it was blood. Why does my cheek hurt so much? I raised my hand and touched my cheek, it hurt a lot. Nigi-kun. He seemed to recognize me as he extended his hand to help me stand up. After getting up I looked at him, he was dimly lit by the lights of the building and the glow of the vending machines behind him. Sorry to bump into you, I wasn't paying attention. It's obvious you're walking around with your head in the clouds, Nigi-kun, you didn't crash into me. No. No. You surprised me and I backhanded you across the cheek. It's amazing you're still conscious. I guess I just didn't hit you hard enough. And, I see, sorry about that. Don't worry, sorry for hitting you. Haha, I guess you brought me back down to earth, so what are you doing here at this hour? I came for a drink for Junko One-sama. I guess I'll buy something too, what did you buy? She didn't tell me what drink she wanted, so I'll bring her iced coffee, I'm sure she'll insult me and yell at me no matter what I bring. As Ikisaba said this, she blushed and started salivating. I guess I'll get some iced coffee too. I went to the machine and selected the iced coffee, swiped my electrode and a can popped out of a slot. I took it and placed it on my hot cheek, it felt very cool. I saw the mercenary with the intention of leaving, but at the same time she seemed to want to stay a little. She looked at me fixedly. Is something wrong? You still seem very distracted, on the battlefield you would be a dead man. And, I see. If you want to tell me what's going on, I can listen. It's nothing, just a vision. A vision? Hagakure-kun, he saw my future. I see, did you see anything bad? Not necessarily a bad thing, I think more like strange. Strange? Yeah. How strange? I shook my head, I really didn't know how to describe it. I'm still thinking about it, but apparently there was something like a two-colored bear in my future. I'm still trying to make sense of it. A two-colored bear? Ikisaba became serious. Yes. I see, well, I hope you can come up with an answer soon, see you. And without letting me answer, she left. It was like seeing a mirage, because when I realized it, she was nowhere to be seen. I leaned against a wall and started to think for a while. That was weird, she got serious when I mentioned the bear. Wait, Ikisaba has black hair and white skin, does that bear represent her? I don't know, I think it's very far-fetched, still, she is the ultimate mercenary, loyalty, strength and wisdom must definitely be some of her qualities. I sighed. That's far-fetched. I think I'm tying threads just for the sake of tying them. Nigi-kun. I looked up. There stood the mysterious lilac-haired girl, Kyoko Kirajiri. Hi Kirajiri-san. What are you doing here at this hour? That's what I should ask you, why are you here? Nothing special, just relaxing my mind, I guess. Are you sure it's just that? Your cheek is swollen. Oh, that, I accidentally surprised Ikisaba-san and she hit me. It's not very smart to surprise a mercenary. Haha, you can say that. I took the can off my cheek. The heat had gone down and I didn't need it anymore. I thought about drinking its contents, but I really didn't feel like coffee, so I looked at my companion. Do you want it? I offered her the can. She seemed hesitant but eventually accepted. You should go back to your room, it's dangerous to be out at night. But this school is one of the safest places in all of Japan. I wouldn't be so sure. And without another word, Kirajiri left. She is as mysterious as ever. Although I had the option to return to my dorm, I stayed there for a few minutes, reflecting a little on everything Hagakure had told me. I don't understand, I really don't understand. I sighed as I finally returned to my room. It had been an unintentionally hectic first day. At least I can stop worrying about being alone for the next 3 years. All my classmates seem nice and like good people. Part 4. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. I finished shopping with Sudu while still receiving Horikita's cold words. When it was time to pay, I looked at the receipt in my hands. The three of us headed for the exit. Before leaving, I went to the trash can and took out the receipt that the kid from the main class had thrown away. What are you doing? Have you just realized the simple fact that your existence is at the level of garbage? What cruel words, I sighed, not knowing what I expected from her. Luckily, I haven't yet considered my existence to the point where I'd want to throw myself into a dumpster for no apparent reason. I should have known. The fact that you could reason with that simple fact would prove you have a functioning brain, which you don't. Okay, tell me, why did you go into the trash can? To get this out. When I showed her the receipt, Horikita narrowed her eyes at me, her gaze essentially a why. Whether it's a why are you showing me this? Why did I listen to you? Or why do you exist? The question is ultimately the same. When we left, I showed her the unfolded receipt and she finally seemed to get it. Minus 200,000 points. That's right, that seems to be the amount that boy has. I doubted something like an amount his class kindly gave him today, so there's only one clear answer. Those in the main course have a subsidy double that of ours. That's how it is. I did quick calculations in my head to figure out how much the entire class would receive. The investment per student is clearly too large. While I was deep in thought, I could feel Horikita's gaze slashing at me, so I quickly looked up to confirm. Fortunately, she didn't have anything to stab me with. I'm surprised you were able to think of that. The way to check how much the school benefits the main class. I guess I had a moment of enlightenment. I ask you to buy Buddhist objects to see if enlightenment stays with you and you become a fit member of society. They seriously fight like a married couple. Sudu's words earned him the attention and a scolding from the raven-haired girl next to me. After arguing for a few minutes, she finally walked away from us and went back to her room. It was at that moment when Sudu sat down to enjoy his noodles that more trouble knocked on the door. Hey, are you a freshman? That's our spot. As I watched Sudu slurp his noodles, a group of 3 boys came out of the convenience store carrying similar bowls. Who are you? We're using this place right now. You're blocking the way. Buck off. Did you hear that? Go away. You spoiled first-year brat. The 3 of them laughed at Sudu. He stood up and threw the cup of noodles to the floor. The noodles splashed. From what I see, it has a really low boiling point. The first year is trying to fight, what? These second years are saying shit. We're already sitting here. The second year senpais put their things here too. And then they started laughing. Yup, we're here too. So get lost, this is our place. They're a bit shameless, shits. Sudu didn't hesitate at the difference in numbers. It seemed like a fist fight would break out any moment. I, of course, wasn't counted among those numbers. Wow, so scary. What class are you in? Oh, wait, never mind. Let me guess, you're in class D, right? And? After Sudu said that, all the upperclassmen looked at each other and laughed at the same time. Did you hear? He's in class D. That was really obvious. Oh? What do you mean by that, huh? As Sudu flared up, the boys took a step back. Since you're so pitiful, I'll let you stay here today. Let's go. Are they running away? The dog is barking. Anyway, you'll be facing hell very soon. Facing hell? They clearly seemed calm and serene. I wonder what facing hell meant. I thought this school was for those luxurious upper-class people like Oju-samas, but there are quite a few people like Sudu or that previous group of 3. Damn, if it was girls or nice second-year boys, it would be fine, but we have that stupid group. Sudu put his hands in his pockets and walked back without even cleaning the noodles. I looked outside the convenience store. 2 surveillance cameras had been set up there. There'll probably be trouble later, huh? Reluctantly, I bent down and began cleaning up the mess. As soon as the second years learned that Sudu was from Class D, their opinions changed instantly. Although I felt anxious about it, there was no way to understand why. With those 2 thoughts in mind, I headed to my room and spent the rest of my first day locked inside. I was somewhat anxious lying on my bed waiting to see how this freedom and this school life that I had just acquired would develop. Chapter 2. Definitive Students, Part 1. Part 1. Ayanokoji Koudo. 7 a.m. I left my room. It's the second day and I can't afford to be late. I opened my bedroom door and left. As I did, I saw a hallway lit by the light of dawn. My room, 502, is on the 5th floor of the apartment building for the finals, so the view from here was really good. I held onto the railing and gazed at the beautiful scenery. From here I could see the distant ocean. Dabberwalk Island. I had to take a bus and then a plane to get to this archipelago where the Kibougamine Koudo Ikuse Academy is built. This place is the one that gathers the hope of tomorrow, which is why it's known as the Elite Academy of Hope. It's self-sustaining, has endless resources, and its security is among the best in the world, so even if a nuclear war were to occur or the world were to be destroyed, this school could stand and sustain the world's hope. Of course, that wouldn't work if the apocalypse started at school and spread to the world. Luckily, that's not possible, right? I don't know if I deserve to be around so many talented people, but I'm glad I am. They all seem like really good people. I am full of hope for this school life. The moment a smile involuntarily appeared on my face, I was able to hear a door open. I felt a gaze fall upon me. It took me a few seconds to turn around and look back, but when I did, I saw a blonde-haired boy staring at me. "Good morning, Tagami-kun," I greeted with a smile, still dazzled by the scenery. I thought about it carefully before realizing, Tagami-kun. Are you my neighbor? I don't like to tell you that you are right. Are you on your way to school, Tagami-kun? That's how it is. What if we go together? I don't care what you do, commoner. Just don't get in my line of sight. I walked to class with Tagami, and even though he didn't want to, I tried every way I could to start a conversation. Tagami and I bonded a bit. Question. Tagami looked at me seriously. We had strayed a bit from our destination and were now standing in front of a vending machine. "Oh, do you have a question for me? There's one thing that's been bothering me." "And what is it? How exactly do you use this machine?" "Oh, it's simple. First you have to put the money in the slot, well, in this case you swipe the electrode through the scanner. Then, you select your product B13, your product falls into the tray and you pick it up." I took out a can of civet coffee and handed it to Tagami. "I see. Such commoner things are foreign to a king like myself," he commented as he opened the can and drank some coffee. "It's a rather unusual object. A window to a distant and unknown world, a vulgar world." "I'm glad you like it," I smiled as I took out a can of Panta and drank it. Then we both resumed our walk. "Since I've decided to honor a drone like you with my time, answer me something else. Do you have another question? You called yourself the ultimate lucky one. What's that supposed to mean?" "Oh well, I don't know what that means either. I'm supposed to be a student who won the annual lottery for enrollment in the main course." "I see, so that means it really was pure luck." Tagami gave a satisfied smile. "That explains everything." "Does he do it? Explain why a useless, talentless commoner like you was able to get into a school like this, specifically the core class." I remained silent, unable to answer. "I repeat, you are a talentless commoner with no potential whatsoever. Useless, talentless and without a hint of potential. That's a little hurtful, don't you think?" "It's the truth." "Sure, compared to you the ultimate HEIR." Tagami frowned a little, "but me. I'd prefer it if you didn't refer to me so categorically as heir." Tagami glared at me, revealing an angry expression. "I'm not just a bloodline. My physique, my intellect, my constitution, everything about me is first class. I am the ultimate Renaissance man. Feel free to call me that from now on." "I think you're taking things too far. You who have nothing and I who have everything, this proves that men are not all created equal. I pity you, Nigi." We reached the halls. "One of these days I will tell you my tale of glory. It's the least I can do to express my sympathy. Be grateful that I consider bestowing such a blessing upon you that you will never know true glory." We entered the classroom, the only ones there were Asahina, Igami, Fujisaki, Mizuno and Ishimaru. I looked at my electrode. 7:14 AM, we barely made it. Immediately and without saying anything Tagami went to his place. I went to sit down anyway and immediately afterward the bell rang. Shortly after, Iwata, Yamada and Ashima and Ikisaba arrived. "You're late, that's unacceptable in school regulations," Ishimaru exclaimed angrily. Yeah, whatever. Even if we don't go to class, we're talented enough to graduate," and Ashima replied disinterestedly as she sat down. No one else responded to Ishimaru as they sat down in their seats. Then the last to arrive appeared, Hagakure, Fukawa, Kawada, Cells and Kirajiri. "Man, I seriously got lost on the way here, damn Bermuda Triangle." Hagakure cursed. "You're more than 15 minutes late, this is unacceptable. I formally request that you arrive at the requested time during the time we have left as classmates." Ishimaru shouted again, even more annoyed than before. Yeah, whatever you say," Kawada snorted as he leaned back in his seat. "Why, you don't boss me around. Why, you can't tell me what to do." "You still stink," Tagami interrupted, causing a blushing Fukawa to fall silent. "Disregarding our own delay, there's something strange," Kirajiri mentioned, making her the center of attention. And what would that be?" I asked. "The professor still hasn't shown up." It's been 20 minutes since class was supposed to start and I don't see him anywhere. That's right. I don't see Kizukura-sensei anywhere. Ishimaru focused his attention completely on the search for the absent teacher. The teacher's absence is not allowed in the school regulations. He clenched his fist helplessly. Unfortunately, I am not authorized to leave the classroom to ensure the on-time arrival of all my classmates and the teacher. I can do nothing but lament my helplessness. The delegate almost looked like he wanted to cry with frustration. I heard a small laugh behind me, but I didn't turn around. Calm down, Ishimaru-kun. This situation isn't your fault, but I'm sure that with time you can help us be more responsible. Without even thinking about what to do, I stood up and tried to calm him down. It was almost automatic. He looked at me, and at that moment I could see how his eyes were returning to normal. You're right. It's my duty as the ultimate moral compass to help my classmates improve their shortcomings. The same goes for the teacher. I don't know how I could have forgotten that. Ishimaru bowed his head. Thanks for reminding me, Nigi. I laughed nervously as I sat back down, the delegate doing the same. You always seem to find something to say, I heard Kirajiri whisper softly. It's just a coincidence, I replied in a whisper, smiling. 10 more minutes passed before the door opened again, a man with shaggy blonde hair walked through. Good morning, he greeted as he headed to his seat. Kizukura-sensei, your delay is unacceptable, Ishimaru scolded him. You must fix your mistake or I'll have to report it to the school authorities. Don't worry, Ishimaru-kun, the people above know I'm late. And they allow it. Unacceptable. Inadmissible. Unforgivable. I was late due to work-related matters. What exactly does that mean? Kirajiri asked. My lips are closed, I can't say anything else, the teacher mocked, placing a finger on his lip. Well, changing the subject, let's start with the class. The class started 30 minutes late and the teacher took attendance. I was amazed by Kizukura-sensei's professionalism. He maintained his relaxed attitude, yet explained everything in such a way that it wasn't difficult for me to understand. Well, maybe it's because he was explaining the basics and rules of each subject, but I still understood everything. And that's what matters. When lunchtime came, some went out on their own, among them were Tagami, Kirajiri, Cells and Fukawa, although I think the latter wants to follow Tagami. Tagami and Asahina left together as did Enoshima and Ikisaba. I looked at Mizuno, I was about to ask him if he wanted to go somewhere, but an arm wrapped around my neck and stopped me. Hey buddy. Uwadachi, Ishimaruchi and I were thinking of going out for something to eat. Are you up for it? I looked at Hagakure, who made a subtle gesture with her eyes, pointing at Kuwata. He's nervous. Are you seriously thinking about dating Mizuno? I felt my chest tighten slightly, I also had feelings for Mizuno. I looked up at Kuwata for a second. Sure. I can't get in the way of a friend. What kind of friend would I be if I did? Besides, Kuwata is definitely a better candidate than me. He's talented. I left with the three of them, leaving Kuwata, Mizuno, Yamada and Fujisaki in the living room. As I crossed the threshold of the door I could faintly see as if Mizuno was trying to make me a sign that didn't finish. Part 2. Since no one wanted to cook, we walked straight to the reserve course cafeteria. I'm still against the plan and how they did it. It was truly irresponsible, Ishimaru commented angrily as we walked. Calm down, old man, everything will be fine, Hagakure calmed. Wait, was this all planned? I was surprised by that. That's right bro, that's why Yamada stayed. I didn't understand what Iwata said. Yesterday we all went out together. If we all went out again today except for Kuwatachi, it could be a suspicion to Mizunaichi, so one of us had to sacrifice himself and stay in the living room to avoid raising suspicions. Yamadachi volunteered. We planned everything as a group. Didn't you see it? Group. Man, check your phone more often. I opened my phone and in the messages app, I could see many notifications. When I opened it, I could see a new group created approximately 2 hours ago, which had 56 messages. I choked again as I opened the group that was curiously called The Boys. Leon the Rockstar. Hey guys. I created this chat so we can help each other out when we need it or just to get together. Yamada-sama the great magical boy, that sounds reasonable Mr. Kuwata, however, I don't see the need to make the group. Mondo the Diamond Brother. In fact the group does work. Mondo the Diamond Brother. I had one with the boys you know for raids and stuff. Mondo the Diamond Brother. Oh bro it was incredible. Mondo the Diamond Brother. Buy motorcycles quickly to go racing. Hagakure, $1,000 per guess, or we can also help Najiki with his relationship with the Ice Queen. Hagakure, $1,000 per guess, Truth Najiki. Hagakure, $1,000 per guess, Najiki. Hagakure, $1,000 per guess, Najiki. Hagakure, $1,000 per guess, why neither Najiki nor Ishimaruchi answer. Hagakure, $1,000 per guess, let's talk. Hagakure, $1,000 per guess. Stop paying attention to class, this is more important. Mondo the Diamond Brother. I don't think they'll answer. Imada-sama the great magical boy. That's right, Mr. Nigi is very busy in class and doesn't even look at his phone. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle. I'm going to try to get his attention, I'm going to throw a lapis lazuli at him. Imada-sama the great magical boy. Lord Hagakure just beat up Miss Kirajiri. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, shit. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, her gaze is terrifying. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, I'm dead. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, help. Imada-sama the great magical boy. Lord Hagakure, it was an honor to meet you. Mondo the Diamond Brother. Hey brothers, Ishimaru is getting agitated every time we send a message. Imada-sama the great magical boy, it's like I feel like we're breaking the rules every time we use the phone in class. Imada-sama the great magical boy, it's terrifying. Almost like it has a built-in radar. One like the crime radar in Robo Justice. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle. I really need help. He can't see me anymore, but I feel like he's going to kill me if he leaves me alone. Imada-sama the great magical boy. I advise you to ask Lord Nigi to act as an intermediary between you and her. Imada-sama the great magical boy, or failing that, stay with Lord Nigi, that way you won't be left alone. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, Nijiki help. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, help. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, help. Leon the Rockstar, guys, I really wanted to ask for your help, today I'm planning to ask Ms. Ono out on a date and I don't think I can make everything work out if I do it alone. I see if it's a date. Imada-sama the great magical boy, calm down Mr. Kuwata, we will help you. Mondo the Diamond Brother. That's what brothers do. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle. Count me in. Hagakure, $1,000 per riddle, so, what's the plan? Leon the Rockstar, the plan? Well, I don't have a plan yet. Mondo the Diamond Brother, you must be bucking kidding me. Imada-sama the great magical boy. It seems that this conversation is going to be long. After such a strange conversation, they continued talking for the rest of the class about what the plan for Kuwata and Ms. Ono's date would be. The more I read, the more my chest tightened, but I still couldn't help but smile as I felt the love Kuwata professed in each message. I was very happy for my friend and hoped his date would be a success. No, I was going to help make it a success. That was the hope Kuwata placed in us. I can't betray that hope. When I looked up from my phone after reading each and every message, I was able to see that we were now sitting at a table in the cafeteria. In front of me was a Panta soda and a large double cheeseburger. I chatted with the guys for a few minutes while we waited for Kuwata. I hadn't even taken a bite of my food yet because I was still processing the whole conversation. When the 5 minutes were up, I could see in the distance how Kuwata opened the doors on the west side of the dining room. The moment my classmates saw that, they turned to look at me. "Nagichi, it looks like we're out of drinks," Hagakure commented as a sign. I knew what that meant. Yet something inside me still wanted to refuse to do it. But I still see the drinks almost full. At that moment Hagakure threw her drink to the floor and Ishimaru's too. Iwata threw away his own drink. Now the ground was stained with several different colors. Oh, we dropped our drinks, how clumsy. Go get the drinks, or do you want to do your brothers a favor? Iwata asked, cracking his knuckles. I am going. Great. He smiled and gave a thumbs up sign. I got up and walked to the other end of the dining room where the vending machines were. The last thing I heard was Ishimaru scolding them for their attitude and throwing away the drinks. Alright, now Kuwata and Ms. Ono should be sitting somewhere where Ms. Ono can't see me or the boys. I whispered to myself as I walked. The reason they sent me away was to prevent Ms. Ono from wanting to sit with us, which might ruin the date. Apparently, she told Kuwata we went to the same high school and everyone thinks we've been friends for a while. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I'm too normal for her to pay attention to me. It was like that in middle school and it will be like that in high school. I went to the vending machine and entered my electroid, then ordered 4 drinks. I picked up the cans from the inbox and turned around, wanting to get back as fast as possible, but in doing so I ended up bumping into someone and falling to the ground. Oh. Clank, 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 clank. The cans made metallic noises as they hit the ground, slightly muffling the complaining female voice. PSSSS, PSSSHHH. One of the cans, which was damaged more than the rest, opened shortly after stopping, causing its entire contents to erupt like a volcano. POV neutral. Meanwhile, things with Iwata, Ishimaru and Hagakure weren't going as planned. Iwata had sent 2 of his motorcycle followers who entered the reserve course, and they were in charge of keeping away Mizuno's fans, who would approach to disturb the date without the blue-haired girl noticing. However, there were so many fans of the idol that they needed reinforcements or they wouldn't be able to control everyone. Who do they think they are? Let us pass. We want to see our goddess. The students complained, shaking their fists. Huh? Are you trying to threaten us, you damn weaklings? Do you know who Araniki is? The discussion became heated, the bikers needed Iwata or they would lose due to all the fans there, however he didn't answer his phone. Who do you think you are, bastard? I am the ultimate moral compass, I cannot allow your behavior. You're just a weakling who knows nothing but to chatter. Take back your slander against me. I'm more of a man than someone who doesn't respect the rules, like you. What did you say, you bastard? Both Ishimaru and Iwata were holding onto each other's collars. Their gaze transmitted electricity as they seemed to be about to hit each other. Ishimaru, whose job was to keep the cafe quiet and ensure that noise didn't disturb the date, now found himself part of that noise. Hagakure tried to calm them down, but no one paid attention. Her job was to call Yamada and get him to take action in case something went wrong, and now things were really bad. He grabbed his electroid and was about to make a call, but a hand in a perfectly black glove placed itself over the phone. He swallowed hard at the sight of that snow-white arm, but before he could do anything else, he felt a pain in the back of his skull, and instantly everything went dark. Afterwards, without anyone noticing or at least giving it importance, Hagakure was taken away. When he opened his eyes, the seer noticed that he was tied hand and foot to a chair and had a gag in his mouth. He complained, shaking from left to right, trying to do something. How much do you know? A squeaky robotic voice asked. The fortune teller was shocked and scared, looking around for anyone. Her screams were covered by the gag. I see you won't talk, but I won't give up. My justice will prevail. Upupupu. The voice laughed as a person entered the room. He was wearing a white coat, black gloves, and a strange mask. He raised a club as he approached Hagakure. I'll speak. I'll speak. The seer tried to say, but all the people could hear was a HMG. HMG. His body trembled thinking that the Fuyahiko clan had just come to settle the pending matters. What happened to Hagakure Yasuhiro after that was something that shouldn't be done to any human. It was desperate. Part 3. Avnigi Makoto. I left the bathroom after finishing cleaning up a good portion of the soda, which, unfortunately for me, broke open and spilled on me. I still felt a little sticky, but it was better than before. I let out a soft sigh and looked at my companion. Thanks for joining me. I feel like I'd get lost with how big the academy is. Hey, it's nothing, besides, what happened was also my fault. No. It's my fault, I should have watched where I was going. I'm really sorry. Nigi-kun apologizes a lot, doesn't he? Is it very obvious? More obvious than the fact that the sky is blue. Big Eye, I'm sorry. I apologized for being so predictable. No. That's not what I meant. I actually find that side of you a little cute, Nigi-kun. A blush appeared on the other side. I saw her look away from me, her blue eyes fixed on the ground for a few seconds. I smiled at this. If I had to say something nice about you then I guess it's your kindness. Huh? Despite being with your friends and despite not having eaten, you decided to accompany me to the bathroom so I wouldn't get lost when I told you I didn't know how to get there. You could have simply given me directions like I asked, but until the end, you were so kind as to accompany me, a complete stranger. You're a very good person, Ichina-san. Ichina's Hanami, a girl from class 1B whom I bumped into a few minutes ago. On the way here, I talked to her and we bonded a bit. I must say she's a very lively and kind person and she has many friends regardless of class. She is also very beautiful. Ichina nervously stroked her strawberry blonde hair as she continued to look away. Gee, thank you. Just as he was about to say something else, a noise shook them both. Grrr. My stomach started to growl. A bit nervous this time I was the one who looked away for a few seconds, but almost instantly after Ichina's and I saw each other's faces again. Ichina's stomach growled in response to mine as if in a conversation. And? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. We immediately started laughing together. Sorry, I haven't eaten anything, I apologized, remembering that my friends had kept me away from my food and then the whole soda incident had happened. Same goes for me. Hey, do you want to go to the Palette? Palette? Yes, it's a cafe around here, they also have very delicious desserts. Wait, haven't you been there? Haha, I laughed nervously, it's only the second day. Wait, dessert for lunch? That's not very healthy, anyway. And you're already late to experience the delights of Palette. I've decided, we'll go to Palette. And without asking any more questions, Ichina took me by the wrist and almost dragged me along due to the unstoppable nature of her steps. I feel like whatever little reputation and dignity I managed to gain among the reserve class members was immediately lost when they saw me being dragged by a girl without being able to do anything to stop it. Many looked at me with mockery, others with disappointment, others with jealousy, and the most normal ones felt sorry and looked away. Finally, after a few minutes of brisk walking without breaks, we arrived at the cafe called Palette. It's very crowded, Ichina sighed. Looks like we'll have to wait. Forget it, a table opened up. We quickly took the table that two girls left free. Wow, this is amazing, Ichina said as she sat down, a smile of pure happiness spread across her face. Didn't you say you'd already come? I got confused. Yes, but the palette is very busy. I'm surprised we found a table so quickly. I've been here twice, and both times I had to wait over 10 minutes to get a seat. Looks like we got lucky, I said, laughing a little as I looked at the menus on the table. Nigi-kun looks like a lucky charm. The next time I come with my classmates from Class B, I'll bring you with us, he replied while looking through his menu. I laughed nervously in response. And what are you going to order, Ichina-san? I guess an extra frothy matcha with whipped cream and a slice of strawberry milk cake. How about you? Everything looks appetizing. I don't know what to choose. I guess the same as Ichina-san. The waiter approached and took our orders. He immediately left and a few minutes later he returned with what we had asked for. I placed my electrode on the scanner he placed in front of me and paid for both of our meals. The receipt came out and he handed it to me. I put it in my bag and turned to see Ichina, who was already eager to eat. Itadakimasu. We repeated in unison. We both devoured our dishes with a smile as we chatted. I took the first bite of my slice of cake. It's really good. I said with a smile. Isn't it? I heard it's one of the recipes the ultimate chef created with the ultimate confectioner, Ichina exclaimed, eating with a twinkle in her eye. I felt a party of strawberries and milk in my mouth. The texture, the smell, the taste, everything about this cake was so perfect that it made me want to eat it every day, ignoring the fact that it is not healthy. That's how dangerous the weapon before me was, a weapon that threatened to wipe out healthy habits from the world. How evil but delicious. I tried the matcha, which was also delicious. The coffee flavor sent me into a world of flavor as my tongue played with the whipped cream and my taste buds received a foam bath. My nose was pierced by the fragrance that this drink gave off. Its strength was such that it even clouded my brain without much trouble. It is simple and simply delicious. And what is Class B like, Ichina-san? They're all very nice and I think I can make friends with them. I'm really glad I ended up in Class B and not Class A. I don't know what Class A is like and I don't want to slander them, but I personally think there's no better class than Class B. What about you, Nigi-kun? What's the main course class like? Well, a shiver ran through my body as I remembered all my classmates. Let's just say they're unique. Ichina laughed. I expected nothing less from people who received the title of definitive. Still, I also think everyone is a very good person and I want to be able to make everyone friends. That's a very noble goal, Nigi-kun. Is it? Sorry if I sounded ridiculous. No, on the contrary, I think it's amazing that you have that goal. I also hope to unite the entire Class B. That's amazing. You're amazing, Ichina-san. I involuntarily blurted out that thought. In response, the strawberry blonde girl looked away and began playing with her hair. Then, it's not that bad. I may not be much help, but if you need anything, I promise to do my best to help. Nigi-kun. Ichina looked at me and I looked at her, then she nodded yes. Having Nigi-kun on my side, I'm sure I can unite the class. Ichina raised her hands excitedly and I did the same, then we both continued our meal with a smile. The conversation flowed naturally between us. Of all the people I had spoken to, Ichina was one of the people I could most easily chat with. I was glad that, for once, I wasn't the one taking the lead in the conversation, but that it alternated between her and me as we spoke. In the end, before we knew it, time had passed and the slices of cake and coffee had disappeared. Looking at the clock, we noticed that the break was about to end. It was fun talking to you, Ichina-san. Same here, Nigi-kun. Let's do it again another time. I'd love to. We exchanged contact numbers and then walked outside the palette. We continued talking as we walked back to class. When we got close to her classroom, Ichina said goodbye to me and continued with some friends we met there. He rang the bell. I continued walking alone to my classroom, quickening my pace slightly so as not to be too late and receive a firm scolding from Ishimaru. In the hallway I met Kirajiri and decided to accompany her to the living room. When we entered, the number of students reached 9. Kawada, Mizuno, Ishimaru, Iwata, Hagakure, Ikisaba and Enoshima were missing. I understood the first two, but what about the rest? I was surprised to learn that Ishimaru decided it was acceptable to skip classes with his strict personality. Maybe something happened. I went to sit down in my seat while checking my phone. There were no messages in the group, so I assume the plan is going well. It may even have been extended. My heart sank again. I was starting to convince myself that it was best to give up on my feelings for Ms. Ono. After all, isn't this proof that Kawada's feelings are reciprocated? If the plan went well, they should be kissing right now. I sighed and dropped my head back onto my seat, staring at Ms. Ono's empty seat and pondering the whole situation. After all, the teacher is probably taking a while again. Part 4. POV neutral. When Nigi left with Ichinus, both Iwata and Ishimaru got fed up with each other and decided on one thing. With this we will prove our manhood. We'll show who's the most macho. The first one to fall loses. They were on a huge 100 meters running track built in the academy sports area. Both boys got into position to start running and demonstrate their manhood in this endurance competition. Are you guys running? Can I join you? A dark-skinned, large-bodied girl approached excitedly. At lost, girl, this is a man's competition, Iwata grumbled. Yes, we'll prove who's the bigger man, Ishimaru continued. So you underestimate me? She pounded her fist into her hand and then made a claw-bearing pose. Both boys' backs tingled as she came and stood beside them. But no one said anything, they didn't have time for that. 1, 2, 3. Immediately the three of them started running. They ran and ran for almost the entire break. Both the ultimate moral compass and the ultimate motorcycle leader were pretty evenly matched, each having completed 13 laps, and the count only kept rising. However, they were already damn tired. Their faces were covered in sweat, their bodies began to feel heavy and aching, their stomachs growled with hunger, and most of all, their legs were begging them to please stop. However, even though everything was against them and it was almost impossible to continue, they kept going around in circles, all because their pride as men did not allow them to give in to each other, even when they were so close to winning. And what about the girl? She had completed 26 laps, and she was still running full of energy, as if nothing and no one could stop her. She was a force of nature, unstoppable and immovable. They continued trying to compete against such a monster, they managed to reach 20 laps, but she had already done almost 50 and still hadn't tired. Even the bell had rung, but not even that stopped Ishimaru, who for the first time experienced what Iwata called man's pride. In the end, without knowing who fell first, both students from class 78 fell unconscious. The last thing they could hear was the mockery of the dark-skinned girl who arrived and ridiculed them. That day, they both learned not to compete in any athletic competition against the ultimate athlete. Unfortunately, it was too late. If only they had known before letting her participate. They closed their eyes, regretting not having stopped this calamity. While all this was happening, the Iwata bikers finally lost to so many fans and were pushed by them that they immediately rushed to meet their goddess. Being surrounded by so many fans surprised both of them, especially the baseball player, who looked everywhere looking for his friends, who should have been here helping him make everything go well. He didn't find any. Damn traitors. He thought angrily. That single moment of distraction was enough to get him pushed away, crashing into the glass behind him and inadvertently dropping his electrode. He quickly recovered and took the idol's hand to lead her away from all her fans. She wanted to take her electrode that she left on the table, but Kawada's action was so fast that she didn't have time. As they ran away towards the exit that was opposite the entrance they came from, Kawada turned around for a second to see Ms. Ono. Don't worry, everything will be okay. He tried to calm her down, but that second of distraction was enough for him to end up stepping on a can that was mysteriously lying next to the vending machines. Ooh. He lost his balance and fell face down on the ground, taking the blue-haired girl with him. He broke his nose and she hit her face against another can on the ground, resulting in a black eye. They both spent the rest of their date in the infirmary being cared for by the ultimate nurse. Kawada Leon had wanted an unforgettable date and boy did he achieve it. Finally, Hagakure, the poor thing, was lying in a pink pool of his own blood. He'd been beaten countless times while being interrogated. But he had a gag in his mouth. How the hell could he say anything? They had also used an oddly sharp nail clipper to slowly remove her entire nail. Last but not least, the masked person had been putting curry in his eyes several times. All this torture filled the fortune teller with despair and he asked the gods of karma why this was happening to him. He didn't understand. It was utterly illogical. The worst part was that it seemed like his companions, both the voice and the masked man, were going to continue his suffering for a while longer. From the bottom of his heart he began to fear Kirajiri Kyoko, thinking that this is the punishment for accidentally hitting her with that pencil. That day despair flooded the person known as Hagakure Yasuhiro. Chapter 3. Definitive Students, Part 2. Part 5. Of Kirajiri Kyoko. This school is strange, very strange indeed. I decided to come here just to find some closure with the man who is my biological father, with the principal of this school, but no matter how much I've tried, I haven't been able to meet with him. The first day after finishing my meeting with Nigi Makoto, I tried to go to the principal's office, but I was stopped under the excuse that he was busy. I spent the whole day. It was already 11 p.m., but Kirajiri-jin didn't even leave his office. I only saw certain people coming in, bringing him food or documents. The same thing happened on the morning of the second day. I was there from 5 a.m. to 7:05 a.m., but I didn't see him leave. What's keeping him so busy? My detective sense, which had been honed like a sword for years by the hard stone called experience, began to tell me that something was wrong, very wrong. This school is hiding something dark. And I'm going to get to the bottom of that. With that goal in mind, I started moving at lunch on the second day. First I went to gather information from several senpais, but none of them told me anything useful. This school is great. Are you crazy? Let me eat now. Just stop being silly and enjoy your school life. They always gave vague answers like that or were very nervous to the point of being aggressive. I don't know anything, a 3D senpai said erratically, looking around as his hands trembled next to the tray with the free menu he was holding. Bingo. He sat down and began to eat. I waited patiently at a table that was neither too close nor too far from his, having spent a couple of points on a simple meal that I took a few bites of so as not to raise suspicions. I feel like someone is watching me. But when I turned my gaze I could only see Ikisaba Mukuro dragging away my other companion, Hagakure Yasuhiro. I didn't pay attention to that, I have a higher priority mission. I got up immediately the senpai finished his plate and left the cafeteria. I followed him through the hallways until I reached a place without people. Senpai, can I have a little of your time? He turned to look at me, and when he did so his eyes widened. Why you again? What do you want? I already told you that I don't know anything, he stammered. If you're going to lie, at least do it well. It's a shame, isn't it? If senpai had known something useful, I would have given him a reward, I agreed, as a sign of gratitude. As a token of gratitude, I said, showing my electrode. I had 196,567 private points. I hadn't bought much of anything else yet, except what I immediately needed. Although I didn't really like things like bribery, theft, and trespassing, I've had to do things like that for the sake of solving some cases in my past, so I can accept it lightly. Senpai's eyes widened, then he cautiously looked around to see if there was anyone there. We were currently in the club area where there were a few cameras for reasons that are not worth explaining right now. What are we talking about? He asked, confirming that it was just the two of us. That depends on what senpai tells me. Give me 10,000, he replied after a few seconds of reflection. If the information is worth it. Made. The senpai approached me and whispered a few words that I could hear. This school, he swallowed, this school has special tests every so often. Those exams can get even grade athletes or academics expelled. Even some of the main class got really careless and were expelled. And what would those exams be? I can't tell you. If I do, the school will punish me with expulsion. I've come too far. And I'm not going to let myself fall when I'm almost at the end. I understand. I sighed. At least that explains why the school isn't concerned about the number. Eventually, many students will be expelled on those tests. Which, if I'm not mistaken, can affect our points just like regular tests. That being the case, does our behavior affect the points? It's a very possible and dangerous option. I'm not that interested in points, but I must consider that, based on the premise Kateshi Senpai told us when she explained the point system. Everything in this school can be bought with those points they give you. So even buying a meeting with the director should be possible. I could use it as a last resort if all else fails. You, the student council can tell you more, they're the students with the most information. Just don't say I told you anything. I understand. Thank you, senpai, I felt very satisfied as I paid her the 10,000 points. By the way, I need to make one more request. After accepting my request he went on his way. I sighed in resignation when I saw the time. Lunch was almost over, so I had to get back quickly. In the hallway outside the classroom I ran into my partner, Nigi Makoto, the ultimate lucky one. He accompanied me to the living room, talking to me a little, although I was very suspicious of his intentions, thinking he wanted to deceive me, I simply ended up giving in to his conversations. He's a very optimistic person from what I see. I arrived and sat down in my spot while Nigi slumped down onto his. Almost immediately I received a message from that senpai who started sending me a list with all the information he knew about the student council members. I started reading and storing the most important information in my mind. For some reason, while I was doing it, I also kept thinking about the lucky guy. His kindness, warmth, and expressiveness make him an easy-to-read open book, but it's a book that shines with the light of a sun, perhaps that's why it ends up catching everyone's attention. Her optimism is a light that attracts us all like moths. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. The star of hope. There was certainly something strange about that person, something that charmed everyone around him as naturally as breathing. He even knows what words to say to cheer up his teammates in such strange situations that even for me they can be unpredictable, like Ishimaru's crying. It's clear that everyone in the class seems interested in him. Only Nigi doesn't seem to notice that fact. I must know why that is. I sighed. I haven't even started a student council investigation and I already have another problem on my hands. Is something wrong, Kirajiri-san? Nigi looked at me with genuine concern, perhaps because of the sigh I gave. It's nothing, Nigi-kun. It's just that there's a lot of work. But it's only the second day, there's almost no work in class. The lucky one thought about it for a moment. I know. I also tend to struggle with some subjects, so how about we get together after class to do a little review? Are you really in trouble? Well, a little, yes, he replied with a blush as he stroked the back of her head. But if we try hard, I'm sure we'll achieve great results. Again. There's your optimism, there's your light shining brightly trying to cheer me up even though we barely know each other. It's warm. Well, if you're having trouble with your studies, then I don't see any problem with helping you. He was clearly confused by the direction the conversation was going, however the arrival of Professor Kizakura forced him to stop himself from speaking. Only 9. I was hoping there would be more. The teacher sighed heavily. Well, nothing can be done. We'll form 3 teams. Today I'll give you a special activity. Special activity? Explanations later. Start your teams, I'll be right back. And with that, the teacher left. I'll team up with Sakura. Who wants to join us? Asahina declared with a joyful jump. I'll be with Master T. Tagami. No, you won't, Tagami looked at the swimmer. Take the crazy girl with you. You don't order us around. Come on, Fukawa-san, he doesn't deserve you. But I love. Silence. The rider tried to speak, but Tagami wouldn't let her. I was annoyed by the heir's attitude, but I remained silent. Well, I guess the rest of the girls will team up. Celestial looked at Fujisaki and me alternately. Yes, that's fine. The programmer replied. That seems fine to me. Looks like we'll be teaming up, Mr. Nigi. Yamada said with a smile as he walked over and sat down in Mizuno's place. Let's do our best, Yamada-kun, Tagami-kun. The lucky one exchanged glances between the fanfic writer and the heir. Meanwhile I continued reading. Approximately 10 minutes passed until the teacher returned, carrying the usual metal container in his hands. He took a sip and then wrote something on the board. Companion hunt. Plus 5,000 pp times caught classmate. Minus 5,000 pp times uncaught classmate. 10,000 pp bonus to first place. PP equals private points. Rules. Aggression is prohibited. Intentionally separating from the group is prohibited. Destruction of the facilities is prohibited. Points earned for capturing a fugitive teammate will be distributed to the team that caught them, while points for not catching teammates will be subtracted from the entire group. Not caught teammates are those who are not caught by any team. We all fell silent when we read that. But we heard a soft but powerful voice. It was Sakura. What does this mean? The powerful blue aura seemed to run through the fighter who stood up. What? I thought it was pretty obvious. Sensei acted dumb as he looked at what he'd written. Well, to be more specific, you'll have to bring your classmates who are skipping classes to earn points. If you don't bring them, you lose points. It's pretty clear, right? You can earn up to 35,000 points. Or lose them, I muttered. Details. The professor took a sip from his metal canteen. Are you ready? He said, taking a party gun out of his bag. You can't make me do anything, you dirty peasant, Tagami complained. As your teacher, I respect your denial, yet I also assert my authority by doing so anyway. Or tell me, is the great Byakuya Tagami afraid of competing and losing to his classmates? What did you say? Why yes, don't insult my master. He's the best of all here. Well, if you're scared you can stay and clean the classroom, but this is a small exam. It'll be a shame if your grades go down for not participating. I see. DSK. On your marks, get set, go. The teacher exclaimed as he pulled the trigger. His gun released a large amount of confetti. At that moment we all ran out of the room. Shit, now I have to clean up this mess. I'm going to need someone. Sensei, I need your help too. Oh. Kakeshi-kun, it's good to have you here. Please clean this up. I have to go to the bathroom. Wait, Sensei. Wait. I'm busy. I need to go tea. I trust you. We heard that conversation in the background and looking back, I could see the teacher pass half the students and then turn a corner to walk away. He's a rotten teacher. Part 6. Neutral POV. Mr. Nigi, none of the boys are answering the call. DCH. I told you it was a stupid idea. Let's stop. Nigi, Yamada and Tagami's group stopped in the hallway while the fanfic creator continued trying to contact Iwata, Ishimaru, Hagakure or Kuwata. Well, any ideas, Mr. Tagami? You said they were supervising a date between those two drones, right? The date between Kuwata-kun and Mizono-san, yes, indeed. Tagami sighed at the lucky guy's emotional decline whenever he brought up the subject. Personally, he didn't care what the average guy did or what happened to him, but it was starting to bother him that he tried to hide it so foolishly. To the air it was no different than someone telling him to his face, "You're stupid." No, even that was less insulting. Get over it, commoner. Did you really think someone with talent would date a normal guy like you? What nonsense. Tagami's face turned angry. This is just the natural outcome of things. Accepted. Mr. Tagami is being very hard on Mr. Na. Silence, fatball. Yamada stepped back in fear. Silence reigned over the three as the air around them grew heavy. Tagami the lucky man whispered softly, more than words it seemed like a thought that escaped against his wishes. Maybe you're right. Nigi shook his head and slapped his cheeks twice. I won't oppose Mizono's happiness. However, I won't give up. The air recoiled from the bright aura of that harmless, lucky man. Fine, do as you wish, commoner. Tagami couldn't help but snort. He couldn't understand how someone as normal as him could be so optimistic and beam with so much hope. It was a true mystery. In his head he considered the possibility that luck was just a facade talent that the school gave Nigi Makoto to hide his true talent. After all, it wouldn't be the first or the last time that happened, and he, as leader of the Tagami family, had records to prove it. The blonde trusted his intellect a lot, but he couldn't discover anything dark that covered this boy a hope before him. It's an unsolved mystery, and that's why, just like the genocide or Jack cases, he promised to solve it. Alright, let's go. Nigi chooses where we'll go. Me. That's right, without information our search is basically a matter of luck, show your talent. If Kuwata and Mizono extended their date, where would they have gone? Nigi began to rack his brain, at which point he began to remember something. Same goes for me. Hey, do you want to go to the Palette? Palette? Yes, it's a cafe around here, they also have very delicious desserts. He recalled his conversation with Ichinus. He didn't know why he did it, but for once he decided to trust his luck. Let's go to the Palette. He exclaimed and started off. I see, so you know the Palette, it's surprising from a commoner like you. Palette. It's a restaurant that serves good coffee, you ignorant pig. A little more respect, Mr. Tagami. Do you? That's King Tagami. You can also call me Tagami-sama. Yamada became frightened and backed away slightly from an enraged Tagami. Gee, guys, we should run or they'll beat us. Whatever. And so the three of them began to run through the corridors towards Palette. Meanwhile on a 100-meter circuit. An unconscious Ishimaru moved like jelly as he heard someone running through the halls, but he was so tired that even that didn't wake him. The three boys from class 78 arrived at the Palette without complications, where they began to search for their missing classmates, however luck did not seem to smile on them as they did not find any. It seems that Mr. Nigi's luck failed him. Yeah, aren't you the ultimate unlucky? You're not even good at that, peasant. I'm sorry, the lucky guy stammered. It doesn't matter anymore. Let's keep looking. Just as the group was about to leave, someone interrupted them. Wow, if it's Tagami and you're accompanied, I never expected you to make friends with that personality of yours. The group stopped in their tracks at the sound of a melodious voice, which, despite its words, did not seem to speak with malice. When they turned around, they saw a beautiful woman. Skin as white as porcelain, blue eyes as bright as stars, and a head of golden hair so stunning it would make the goddess if herself go bald again, but this time out of envy. She emanated an aura that captivated anyone who saw her. Yamada didn't hesitate for a second before prostrating himself on the ground, drooling. In his mind, he began to apologize to his beloved Princess Bigblies and the entire 2D world because the woman before him made him think that only the princesses of the 3D world could be better. Nigi was shocked to see her and was about to kneel down, but Tagami's hand hit his chest lightly making him stop and straighten his back again. Seeing this, Sonia stifled a laugh. She thought of it as like watching an owner take care of a sweet, scared little dog. Never mind, what do you want? Nothing, I was just surprised to see you here with friends, so I came to take a closer look at the situation. They're not my friends. I see, Sonia sighed. I thought so. You're not very nice, to say the least. Nigi spoke. Oh, it's true they don't know each other. I'm Sonia never mind, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure, never mind san. I'm Nigi Makoto. Oh, and what is your talent, Nigi-kun? I am the ultimate lucky one. I see, well, you're better than the lucky one of my generation. The lucky one of your generation. At that moment, Makoto remembered one thing. There was only one ultimate group in her generation, so any other ultimate who wasn't her classmate was her senpai. The woman before him is his senpai, yet he so calmly called her with the honorific san. Nigi freaked out a little, grabbing his head. Sonia saw that and started laughing. By the way, I am the ultimate princess. Nigi's back jerked and he began to tremble as he remembered Hagakure's prophecy and that he shouldn't anger powerful people. I'm dead, I'm so dead. He thought desperately. Ha Sonia started laughing. Calm down Nigi-kun, you can use the honorific san if you want. Did she read my thoughts? The lucky man thought in confusion. You're an open book, the princess continued mockingly. It's painfully true, the heir agreed. Then, no. More importantly, I'm sorry for what I did, never mind senpai. Sonia. If you want to apologize for what you did, then call me Sonia senpai, do you understand? Why, yes, Sonia senpai. Well, now that the introductions are over, we're off. Get up, fatso. Kagami turned around to leave while lightly hitting Yamada with his shoe as the fanfic creator was still prostrate on the ground. Well, they seem desperate, may I know what they're looking for? N. We're looking for our classmates from class 78. Have you seen any of them? Kagami was enraged at being interrupted but said nothing, just pinched the bridge of his nose while controlling the throbbing vein on his red forehead so it wouldn't explode. My cowhace from class 78. I haven't seen any today, but I think Tsumiki has. Tsumiki? Yes, the ultimate sick, she's nice, though shy. I think you and her could. Straight to the point, never mind. Oh, yeah. Tsumiki said she couldn't come to the pallet with us because she had to take care of some cowhide who ended up in an accident. But, shouldn't you be in class? The teacher is in an important meeting, so we have the day off. Also, remember that class attendance isn't mandatory. That doesn't matter. We're leaving. And without giving them time to say goodbye, the heir forced them to leave the place. The three of them started running towards the infirmary. The reserve course infirmary is closer, so we'll check that one first. Understood. Good. They obeyed the blonde's orders and headed to the place. By the way, I'm glad to know you have friends, Tagami-kun. TSK, who do you think you're saying that to? She could crush you if she wanted to. Just a little more respect. There were a few seconds of silence. And she's not my friend. She's my fiancé. Nigi, I'll tell you because you're a nobody. The Tagami family has a method for selecting the heir that's extremely curious, one could say it's the basis of our success. The head of the family makes a harem with upper-class women, then all the sons fight for the position of heir, only the best wins. Makoto was speechless. So you? Yes. I wasn't born the final heir. I earned it. That's why I'm better than you and everyone else. I defeated all my brothers. And what happened to them? They were murdered. Metaphorically. They were exiled, they lost their family name. For a Tagami, that's worse than death. The lucky man sighed knowing that they were still alive. Tagami was annoyed by this. He didn't even know them, but he genuinely cared about them. Is he even human? Isn't he a human body implanted with the brain of a cute puppy? While wondering about this, they finally arrived at the infirmary. They slid the door open only to see something quite bizarre. There, lying in the middle of the room, was a girl in a nurse's uniform, lying on the floor in an erotic pose. She was covered in bandages and stained with blood, Rosa, obviously, and the three boys who entered could see her pure white underwear. Kagami remained unfazed, but Yamada started bleeding so he withdrew from the entrance and Nigi was quite flushed and his brain was too hot to think of anything. However, that wasn't the only thing happening in the infirmary, as they also saw Kirajiri and Cells carrying an unconscious Kawada and Mizono on a stretcher. Their injuries were clear, Kawada had a bandage on his nose and Mizono had a black eye. You're too late, losers. Cells mocked as she helped push the stretcher. Both boys had to step aside to let the three girls leave. I'm sorry. Fujisaki apologized before following his team. Shit. Get out of the way, fatso. Hey? Yamada, who was lying in the hallway nursing his nosebleed, couldn't react in time when the girls collided with him. The stretcher hit Yamada's greasy body and then four people flew out, Kawada, Mizono, Cells and finally Kirajiri. Why? They rolled on the ground before getting up. You stupid fatso, Cells yelled, dusting herself off. This dress cost more than all your jobs combined. You fatso, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Why Miss Celestia, I don't advise you to go against the Alpha and Omega. I will unleash my full force upon you and I will not be held responsible for what happens. What are you saying, you disgusting otaku? Cells began kicking Yamada, who hadn't even gotten up. Kagami wanted to go and take one of the objectives, however Yamada didn't allow it, it was like a Snorlax covering the way in Pokemon. Get out of the way, you morbid cow. Kibougamine also began to kick Yamada, who curled into a ball. Stop. Why, yes, leave the poor guy alone. By the time they left, the poor rider covered in bruises was when they stopped, and the only reason was because Fujisaki and Nigi managed to stop them. While all this was happening, Kirajiri, oblivious to the situation, placed both students back on the stretcher, only this time securing them using the seatbelts. "We're leaving," Cells exclaimed as the three women left the place. "Hey, are you okay, buddy?" "Why, yes, thank you for your help, Mr. Nigi." Nigi helped Yamada lean against the wall. Fortunately, he didn't have any serious injuries, so there wouldn't be any bigger problem than the pain. "Let me help." The girl in white underwear spoke as she came out of the infirmary with a bottle in her hand. And you are? Mike and Tsumiki, ultimate NURSE, please don't hate me. I can help. I promise. Calm down, Mike and senpai, nobody here hates you." "Oh, no." The blonde raised an eyebrow. That question hit the nurse's low self-esteem hard and she seemed to shrink back in tears. Calm down, Mike and senpai. I like you." "Oh really?" "Yes. After all, you offered to help our friend Yamada, so you must be a good person." "And I'm not a good person, I'm just doing my job." Mikan gave Nigi a thin, fragile smile, then approached and made Yamada drink the contents of the jar. Cough. Cough. The fanfic writer started coughing. "What a horrible taste." "Hey nurse, what did you give him? Poison?" "Then, no. It wasn't tea," that a trembling Mikan replied. "I gave him a special painkiller I made myself, it should cure any pain. Though I admit it doesn't taste the best. Maybe I could ask Turateru-kun, Kimura-senpai or Raruka-senpai for some help." "I see, that's a shame. I was hoping it was poison." "Titagami-kun. That. I don't think you should talk to your classmates like that. Anyway, to me they're nothing more than worthless commoners. I need a Diet Coke to get rid of this taste in my mouth. Let's go to the kitchen." And with that Yamada left. "Whatever. Maybe the fat guy will have better luck than you." Kibougamine also left. "Thank you again, Mikan-senpai." It's nothing, thank you Nigi-kun for encouraging me." No. I didn't do anything worth thanking. Let's go. There's no time to waste flirting." Kibougamine shouted, who came back to grab Nigi by the hood and start stretching him with it. He was quite annoyed at looking like a babysitter. I'm not flirting." It's true." Both the nurses and the lucky man's faces glowed crimson and neither could think of anything properly. "Anyway, then you exchange contact information or whatever. We're in the middle of a stupid test." Nigi managed to wave goodbye before Kibougamine turned down a hallway and could no longer see the nurse. The Ahogue boy didn't know it, but at that moment he had just planted a seed of hope in a girl who would soon sink deeper into an abyss of despair. They arrived at the cafeteria and began searching for their classmates, but were unsuccessful. They only found discarded and crushed sodas. Nigi laughed nervously. After that little search, Yamada separated from the other two and went in search of his beloved soda. The search is getting complicated. Kirajiri, Cells and Fujisaki already have Kuwata and Mizono, only 5 remain. We have to find 3 if we want to win. But how? We have nowhere else to look, we're at a dead end. Cowhace, come on. Hey? They turned their heads to look in the other direction at a girl sitting at a table. Curvy and tanned, her silky brown hair was whipping around as she ate wildly, as if she hadn't eaten in days. She turned to look at both boys from class 78 and an annoyed look filtered from her eyes. "I told you to come. Are you deaf?" Sorry. I'm coming." The lucky one moved forward, closely followed by the heir. "Well? Why did you talk to us?" "We're in a hurry, so be direct," Kibougamine ordered, though he was almost ignored. "What are you so desperately looking for?" "Are you asking that too? How annoying are those in class 77? "What do you mean by that?" "And nothing. He doesn't mean anything. Come on, Kibougamine-kun, apologize to senpai." HMP. Since Kibougamie's attempts to apologize were more useless than asking the sky to turn pink, Nigi decided to very subtly change the subject. Senpai, we are looking for our companions. Do you know where they are?" "Oh, yes, I saw 2 recently." "Oh really? Where?" The girl, Aoria Kane, gave them a satisfied smile. "If you want to know, give me more meat." That's up. "So you don't want to know where your colleagues are?" "Ah. Give me that." Kibougamine exclaimed, snatching 2 trays of beef from 2 reserve class students who were passing by and then serving them to a Kane. "Hey. What the hell is wrong with you, idiot?" When both boys tried to complain, the heir shut them up by paying triple the original price for their meal. "Now get out of my sight." He chased them away and they left with their tails between their legs, not only because of the money, but also because of the aura of authority that the blonde now emanated. Okay, you've got your stupid meat. Now talk. The 100 meters circuit, I left them there. You left them? Who? The white-haired stiffened a cornhead. A drop of sweat ran down Nigi's forehead. If Iwata had heard that description he would definitely have tried to hit Tagami. Yeah, well, they might fit that description. Okay, we're leaving. The blonde turned around and walked quickly away. Thank you. Nigi bowed his head, receiving a friendly smile from the athlete. Relax. Try some meat, it's delicious. The lucky guy didn't have time to respond because when he realized it, he already had a chicken leg in his mouth. Gigosh, as he thanked with his mouth full. After that he went to the air and the fanfic writer. The latter was calmly drinking a Diet Coke while carrying a pack with 5 more in his hand. Alright. Let's embark on this epic journey to our friends, he declared with a smile as he tossed his can, which hit the edge of the trash can before falling out. Whatever. Let's get this over with. I hate living with peasants like you. The three began running toward the sports area and upon arriving there, they found the delegate and the motorcyclist lying on the ground. Aishimaru-kun. Oh, Wada-kun. The lucky man approached and tried to wake them both up. However, everything failed. Tired of waiting, Tagami grabbed one of the 3 remaining soda cans and threw it at his 2 unconscious companions, but it did nothing. TSK, these useless people. With no other option, they had to manage to drag them back to the living room. Woo-woo-woo-woo. Occasionally Ishimaru would jerk and make strange noises, but after the 13th time they got used to it. And so, they arrived at the living room. Part 7. Neutral POV. The group of Kirajiri, Cells and Fujisaki took the initiative to head to the reserve course dining hall because they remembered seeing some of their classmates there before this whole stupid test began. However, upon arriving, they only found a couple of unimportant students. If they had to name a couple that stood out, they were a short fat chef who was preparing dishes non-stop and a dark-skinned girl who was eating everything. Yes, they were Hanamura Teruteru and Aoria Kane. However, there was something about the place that didn't fit and Kirajiri quickly noticed it. Approaching one of the tables he found an electroid that was abandoned. Looking closer he noticed that there were actually 2, only the second one was lying on the floor full of footprints. He tried to turn it on but couldn't. It must be broken, Cells commented upon seeing the situation. And I don't think so. What makes you think that, Fujisaki-san? Electroids are very resistant, a couple of steps shouldn't do anything to it. This one must have been defective because it's useless. Or maybe he just forgot to charge it, I added. That's a possibility. Grabbing the electroid that was on the table where there were half-eaten dishes, Fujisaki turned it on and looked at the screen. Welcome Sayaka Mizono. So Mizono was here, huh? And from what we see, he was with someone else. Alright. We've got 2 of them now, where the hell did they go? Kirajiri placed his fist under his chin and began to reflect. At that moment he could see that if he paid attention to the ground, a tiny trail of footprints led him towards the exit of the cafeteria, which was opposite where they entered. However, those footprints looked more like those of a crowd than the footprints of 2 individuals, and there was also a pen lying around. So they were attacked by fans and had to flee, huh? He thought, heading toward the footprints. Upon arrival, an equally mysterious clue greeted him. 4 cans were lying on the floor, 1 spilled, 2 others were damaged, and 1 was in perfect condition, with some blood stains on it. Kirajiri began to take notes out of the cans. The first one, the spilled one, had very little liquid and no stain, so it was obvious that the contents of that can fell on someone. The second and third cans, hit. Wait, that's not a hit. That is. The footprint, interrupted Ludenberg, who had just approached her. Someone stepped on that can. Yes, that's how it is. But does this have anything to do with our test? Kirajiri narrowed his eyes as he looked at the third can, indeed that can was hit. Looking at the last one he could confirm that the small drops were blood. The distribution of the cans gave him an idea of what had happened. 2 people rushed from the table to the exit, but either they collided with the owner of the cans, or the owner had collided first but left the cans there. The important thing is that one of those 2 people stepped on one of the cans and went forward, taking his companion with him. They both hit the cans, and the can ended up breaking his nose, staining the other can with a little blood, she commented, immersed in her detective world. And that's important because the gambler was confused because she couldn't guess where the whole conversation was going. The people who fell were Kuwata Leon and Mizono Sayaka. How the programmer was shocked. How can you say that so confidently? The electroids are proof. Sayaka Mizono was here. But how do you know that companion was Kuwata-kun? That's why. Kirajiri picked something up from the ground and showed it to them. It was a red hair. That's not very convincing evidence, there are too many redeeds. Showing more evidence won't help us, at least we know we have Sayaka Mizuno's face. Okay, Sherlock, so where did the idol go after that? They went to the infirmary. No more words were needed, the three quickly headed to the reserve course infirmary, only to be met with the sight of two unconscious people on two stretchers and a nurse lying in an erotic pose. I can explain. There wasn't much time to explain, Kirajiri placed Kuwata and Mizuno on the same stretcher, and before escaping they were intercepted by Nigi Makoto's team. They managed to escape from them and secured 10,000 pp. Shortly after, Nigi, Tagami, and Yamada arrived, shooting with Mondo and Ishimaru securing another 10,000 pp. But no matter how hard the team searched, it was useless. They did not find Mukuro and Ishimaru Hagakure. It was as if the earth had swallowed them. With no hope of finding the missing companions, Kizukura decided to end her fun little event. The results were as follows. Companion Hunt. Team 1, Nigi, Tagami, Yamada. 0 pages. Team 2, Kirajiri, Cells, Fujisaki. 0 pp. Team 3, Igami, Asahina, Fukawa. Minus 15,000 pp. Bonus split between Team 1 and Team 2. Nigi, Yamada and Fujisaki celebrated for not losing points, while Tagami got angry at how useless the whole trip was and reproached Fukawa, who tried to calm him down by telling him that he was the best and the next one would undoubtedly humiliate them all. Asahina and Igami were motivating each other to do better on the next exam. Cells and Kirajiri were simply indifferent to the outcome. They didn't win, but they didn't lose either. That's all. Last but not least, Hagakure was tied up in an unknown place, praying to the gods that Rent will find him and free him from his torment. However, it seems that God responded to his request with a kick in the testicles, because the only person who entered was the masked man who, under orders from the voice, began to throw lemon on the fortune teller's eyes. Chapter 4. Defective Students. Part 1. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. I have a question for everyone, are humans equal? It's a shame the answer is no. Humans are equal at birth. That's an undeniable truth of the world, but that's where it ends. We are only equal when we are born. Social position, education, family environment, everything becomes unequal after birth. Still, inequality is a difficult concept to accept. No one wants to admit that they are less than someone else. The first and second days passed without incident, except for Sudo almost getting into a fight with those senpais on the first day. The school day also passed without incident. Sudo slept through the entire class, but no teacher gave any instructions to wake him up. It's up to us whether we attend class or not. This is how all non-compulsory education should be. It was currently break time and I was sitting there pondering what I should do. The only ones left here are those who also want to make friends but are shy, those who aren't interested, and those who are fine on their own. My neighbor was the perfect example of the latter. The best thing to do would undoubtedly be to approach and make friends with the first type of person, but I've never tried. What should I do? Talk about the weather? Sports? School? Should I make an excuse to start the conversation or just be direct? There were so many possibilities that I didn't even dare to get up. I want someone to treat me. I want to have lunch with someone. Your thoughts are really obvious. How pathetic. Of those left, the only person who understood my expression was the woman next to me, Horikita Suzune. It's a bit sad. You're single too. Don't you feel the same way? Or do you plan on staying single for the next 3 years? Yes. I like being alone. She responded quickly without any hesitation. It seems she really feels that way. Instead of worrying about me, worry about yourself. Well, I wasn't the one who proudly said I couldn't make friends. To be honest, it looks like the near future will be worrying because I couldn't make any friends. My train of thought was interrupted by a compass flying straight at my head. I moved a few millimeters to avoid it. Oh, you have good reflexes. I saw the tip sunk a few millimeters into the wall. That's dangerous. I was thinking about going out to eat. Does anyone want to join me? My popular classmate, Harada, said as he stood up. But that kind of thinking, he looks like a real Ryaju. I've been waiting for my savior to arrive, it's a perfect opportunity for me. Harada, I'm coming now. Ignoring Horikita's warning about the dangers of attacking others just because they're telling the truth, I braced myself and steeled myself. I slowly raised my hand. I'm coming. I'm going too. Me too, me too. My hand dropped almost automatically when I saw Harada surrounded by girls. Why did they take my place? That was my chance to be Harada's friend. Just because he's handsome doesn't mean you guys can go to the cafe with him. How sad. Another mocking laugh accompanied by a disdainful look came from my neighbor. Don't try to guess what others are thinking. Harada spoke again. Is there anyone else? Feeling a little lonely for lack of other kids, Harada looked around the classroom. When he saw me, our eyes met. There he is. Harada noticed me. a man who wants you to invite him is here. After we looked into each other's eyes, his gaze fixed on me. As expected of a Ryuju, he understood my problems. Ayanokoji. He tried to say my name, but at that moment. Harada-kun, hurry up. Yes, hurry up Harada-kun. The girls took hold of Harada's arms without noticing me at all. Harada's gaze was stolen by the girls. Afterwards, they left the classroom, leaving me there alone. The only thing left was my arm, which had been extended again to receive a greeting from Harada that never came. Feeling embarrassed, I pretended to stretch my arm out to scratch my head. Well. Sending me one last look of pity, Horikita left the classroom. That was useless. I sat there in silence for a few minutes, lamenting all the opportunities I'd just missed to make friends, the one that hurt the most being Harada's. I was all set up for the checkmate, but I ended up ruining it. Reluctantly, I started heading to the cafeteria, or maybe I'll go get something at the convenience store, so I don't have to eat alone. Once again, let's get along, Ayanokoji-kun. I felt a little puzzled upon hearing that voice, and immediately my gaze went to the place where the voice came from. There at the end of the hallway was a couple, a boy and a girl, holding hands. Although I could only see the boy's back. I'm pleased to meet you. I heard a rather familiar voice from that brunette who then separated from his companion and turned into the hallway. Impossible. I started taking quick steps towards that person. I had to confirm if what I saw was true. On my way, I was suddenly stopped by a beautiful girl. She was Kushida, one of my classmates. Since it was the first time I looked at her head-on, my heart started beating rapidly. Short, straight brown hair that reached the top of her shoulders. It wasn't vulgar in any way, but the school had recently approved shorter skirts, so it was obvious her uniform was new. In his hand was a bag with a bunch of keychains. There were so many that he wasn't sure if he was carrying one bag or if he was carrying many keychains. Ayanokoji-kun. And? I thought you went over there. Kushida turned her head and pointed to the corner at the end of the hallway, but immediately shook her head a second later. Forget it. I must be seeing things, haha. By the way, thanks again for that. Yes, you know, what we just talked about. I was genuinely confused, and Kushida could tell as she started laughing lightly. Ayanokoji-kun has a bad memory, right? Okay, I'll tell you again, but promise not to forget again, okay? I understand. Well, I asked if you were on good terms with Horikita-san. Not exactly close, we're just acquaintances. Yes, that's what you told me. So I started asking you questions about Horikita-san. I felt a little sorry to learn that the conversation was about Horikita. Logically speaking, my personality is much better than hers, but why does the world give her more opportunities to make friends than it does me? This is inexplicable. It's certainly proof of inequality. The world gives advantages to pretty girls. I'm sorry to say we only met at the entrance ceremony. Yes, you've already told me that too. It's strange, very strange. I'm sorry for repeating it so much, but let's get along, Ayanokoji-kun. Kushida extended her hand towards me, so I quickly wiped mine before taking her hand. Think quickly what to say quickly. I'm pleased to meet you. Kushida smiled at me and continued on her way. I feel a sense of deja vu. And since humans think conveniently, I quickly forgot about everything else. Part 2. After looking through the cafeteria door, I decided to go to the convenience store, buy some bread, and return to the classroom. The group of friends ate lunch with their desks next to each other, while several students ate alone in silence. The only commonality was that almost everyone had a bento from the convenience store or cafeteria. I was about to start eating when I saw that Horikita had already returned to her seat. He had a sandwich on his desk that looked so delicious that the inside of my mouth unconsciously started to salivate. Delicious food will always be something no human can resist. I returned to my seat without saying anything. Just as I was about to take the first bite of my bread, music started playing over the speakers. Today at 5 p.m. in gym number 1, there will be a club fair. For those interested in clubs, please come to gym number 1. I repeat, today. The girl with a nice voice made the announcement. Clubs, eh? I've never been to a club before. Hey, Horikita. I'm not interested in clubs. I haven't even asked anything yet. Okay, so what? Are you going to join any clubs? Ayanokoji-kun, do you have dementia? Or are you just an idiot? Didn't I say from the beginning that I'm not interested in clubs? Yes, but just because you're not interested doesn't mean you won't participate. That's a frivolous argument. Don't make this kind of useless small talk. Okay. Horikita has no interest in clubs or making friends. Whenever I talk to her, she seems upset. I wonder if she came to this school just for the education or the high employment rate. It wouldn't be surprising if that was your only reason, but it doesn't seem natural. You really don't have any friends, I see. That's incorrect. Now I can speak to you very well. That's what you say, but don't count me as one of your friends. And why not? Because we are not. I wonder about that. There was a few seconds of silence. While I was wondering whether I should say something, Horikita, to my surprise, took the initiative. If you want to go check out the clubs, do you intend to go into any of them? No, I'm still thinking about it. I probably won't join any of them. If you're not going to join a club, why are you going to the club fair? It's weird. Are you using clubs as an excuse to make friends? How is he so smart? No, I'm probably just too easy to understand. Since I failed on the first day, clubs are my last chance to make friends. Isn't it okay to invite anyone instead of me? Horikita. And? It's because I don't have anyone else to invite that I'm having problems. That's true. However, I don't think Ayanokoji-kun means those things. If you really wanted a friend, you'd probably be more serious. That is impossible for me, I have stepped onto the path of solitude. Horikita continued eating her sandwich in silence. I really can't understand that kind of contradictory thinking. I want friends, but I can't make friends. Horikita couldn't seem to understand that. Have you ever been to a club? No. I have no experience at any club. So you have some experience with anything other than clubs? Oh, Horikita-san, you're talking about this and that I have high expectations for. What are you trying to say? I sense the malice behind your words. Malice? I didn't even tell you what I meant. With a quick movement I received a blow to my side. I coughed at his unexpected force and my body slumped onto my desk. It was unexpected and it took me a second to compose myself. Hey, what was that for? Ayanokoji-kun. I've already warned you, but it seems you're not listening to what I'm saying. Remember, I'm capable of inflicting more pain than I just did. No violence. Violence solves nothing. Really? Since the beginning of time, violence has existed because it's the most efficient way to solve problems. It's the quickest way to make your point or ignore the other person's wishes. After all, even countries employ police officers who use guns and violence to arrest people, or am I wrong? You sure talk a lot. She gave me a big speech, claiming she'd done nothing wrong. Every time I made a point, she'd say absurd things and use them as a vicious retort. From now on, I will use violence to correct the errors in your way of being. What do you think? How would you feel if I told you the same thing? I wonder why men who raise their hand against a woman are called the lowest and cowards. It doesn't matter, because I don't think that's going to happen. After all, I never say anything I shouldn't. In the 1960s, a theory emerged from the research of psychobiologist and Nobel Prize winner Roger W. Sperry, which is based on the belief that one side of the brain is dominant. If you are predominantly analytical and methodical in your reasoning, you are said to be left brain dominant. If you tend to be more creative or artistic, you are considered right brain dominant. Without a doubt, Horikita and her answers dominate the left side. He seems to think he's never wrong. Although she looks and acts civilized, she is evil and brutal on the inside. I understand. I'll be very careful from now on. Giving up on inviting Horikita, I looked out the window. Ah, the weather is nice today. Club activities. That's it. I see, Horikita muttered as she pondered something. Just a little while after school is fine, right? I'll go with you. What do you mean by that? Didn't you say so yourself? That you wanted to go to the club fair? Oh, right. I never meant to stay long. After all, I was just looking for an excuse, is that okay? If it's just for a little while. Then I'll see you after school. After that, she continued eating. It seems she decided to go along with my attempt to make more friends. I said earlier that she was unpleasant to talk to, but her attitude seems to be taking a turn for the better. Maybe I should try talking to her more. Watching you try to make friends and fail sounds interesting. Never mind, it's still unpleasant. Part 3. Wow, it's a bigger place than I thought. Horikita and I met up after school to go to the gym. Almost all the first years. More than 100 people were there. We were waiting in the back for the club fair to begin. When we entered the gym, they passed around flyers with details of the club's activities. I wonder if this school has any particularly famous clubs. For example, something like a karate club. Many of the clubs seem to be high level. There are many members in many clubs that are known nationally. Having definitive students, I don't think there's anything to be surprised about. At this school, club activities are not at the amateur level. The facilities are also top quality. Look, they even have oxygen chambers for the diving club. All this equipment puts the professionals to shame. Oh, look, there's the karate club. It seems to be run by an ultimate senpai from the 76 class. And how do you know it's a definitive? He has such a huge mass of muscles that he looks like a professional wrestler, and he also has that unique aura that all the ultimate students have. That's very classist, Ayanokoji-kun. Classist? I'm just stating the undeniable truth. I interrupted Horikita. Almost immediately, a punch flew at my stomach. I narrowly dodged it. I see, it's good that there is a karate club. Why? Are you interested in karate? No, not particularly. But you know, it seems like an inexperienced person would have a hard time joining a sports club. Even if someone made their debut in high school. They'd be a substitute for all eternity. I don't think it'd be fun. Everything around here seems too tidy and clean. Doesn't that depend on the effort they put in? After 1 or 2 years of training, anyone can be good. Training, I don't think I'll be able to put in much effort. I didn't think the word training existed for people who avoid problems like you. What does avoiding problems have to do with this? Don't someone who avoids problems also avoid any kind of manual labor? If you said you avoid problems, you should stick to your word to the end. I don't take it that far. You don't commit to anything, you'll never make friends. Your words hurt my heart. Thank you for waiting, first-year students. A representative from each club will explain their activities and how to join. I'm Tachibana, the student council spokesperson and one of the people in charge of this club fair. Nice to meet you. After Tachibana's greeting, the club representatives lined up on the gymnasium stage. There were several representatives, from those wearing judo uniforms to beautiful kimonos. Each and every one of them was a definitive student. Not a single club leader was part of the reserve classes. The difference between our classes, the difference between the untalented and the talented, is like that between heaven and earth. Hey, if you ever change your mind, try joining a sports club. Doesn't the judo club seem right for you? That senpai seems nice and encouraging. What part of him looks pleasant and encouraging? That gorilla looks like he could kill someone at any moment. He'll probably tell you that judo is an easy sport and then they taunt. I thought the conversation was going somewhere, but she's being rude again. Even if that were the case, sports clubs clearly don't welcome any beginners, look at how they boast. They should be welcomed. The more people they recruit, the more money the school gives them, so they can buy more equipment. That's just using new members to get money. It would be ideal to recruit a bunch of new members, increase the budget, and then get them to become ghost members. You have to be able to skillfully manipulate the rules of the world. What a wicked world. Your way of thinking is certainly strange. My name is Hashigaki, and I am the ultimate archer and leader of the archery club. I am a member of class 76A. I think there are many students who find it old-fashioned and simplistic, but it is a truly fun and satisfying sport. We warmly welcome all new students, so if you are interested, please join. The girl wearing archery clothing began her performance on stage. Look, they seem to welcome beginners. How about you try joining? To increase their budget. There's no way I'm joining a club for that reason. Besides, a sports club is a meeting place for reagues. Without knowing anyone, it wouldn't be fun at all, and I'd probably leave in a heartbeat. Isn't that way of thinking the result of your twisted personality? Yes, absolutely. A sports club is definitely impossible. I wouldn't even want to do a part-time job that is completely lax and requires little effort. Also, I'd probably only join a club if it was easy to join, quiet and calm. Maybe something like a tea ceremony club would be the perfect fit. No. That place is full of women, and I don't trust my skills to interact with the opposite gender. Sue. As the representatives showed off their clubs one by one, Horikita suddenly tensed. She looked up at the stage, her face pale. What's going on? In his state of tension, it seems he didn't hear me. I also looked towards the stage, but I didn't see anything in particular. The baseball club's representative, the ultimate umpire, was making his presentation while wearing a uniform. Did you fall in love with him at first sight? It doesn't seem that way. Surprise. Disgust. Or perhaps elation. To be honest, his expression is complex, making it difficult to read his face. Horikita, what's wrong? Can't you really hear me? Just look at the stage. I'll stop talking and wait for an explanation. I snapped my fingers in front of her eyes, but she didn't react. The baseball club didn't seem particularly more interesting than the others. No matter how welcoming they are to newcomers or how attractive their meeting place and time are, it's just another ordinary introduction. It wasn't just the baseball club. All the clubs seemed ordinary. I've heard this school is very unusual, so what's going on here? Looking at it closely, I learned something interesting from these explanations, and that is that the minimum number of people needed for a new club is 3. Every time a new club begins its explanation, the first years chat with their friends about the previous club. The gymnasium had a lively atmosphere. The club representatives, not to mention the supervising teacher, continued their explanations with offended looks. They must be frantic to recruit as many members as possible. When the seniors finished their explanations, they stepped off the stage and approached some tables. They're probably setting up a reception area so they can talk to people one-on-one and admit them. Finally, everyone left the stage until only one person remained. Everyone's gaze was focused on the stage. I realized Horikita had been staring at that person the entire time. The person was about 170 centimeters tall. He wasn't that tall. A slender body, straight black hair, sharp glasses and a calculating gaze. The student standing in front of the microphone looked at the first years calmly. What kind of club is it and what explanation will it give? It had caught my attention. However, it disappeared the next moment. He was completely silent. Maybe his mind went blank. Maybe he was feeling nervous and his voice didn't come out. Do your best. Did you forget to bring your note cards? Yes, 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 yes. The first years said that to that person. However, the senpai on the stage didn't hesitate at all. Neither laughter nor encouragement seemed to reach him. Even when the laughter began to die down, his apathetic face didn't change. The student started to wonder, what is this senpai doing? And then noise started to build in the gym. Even then, the boy didn't move. He stood still, staring at the first years. Horikita also looked at the boy intensely. The relaxed atmosphere gradually shifted in an unexpected direction. It was an electrifying shift in mood. Eventually, the entire gym was enveloped in a silent and tense atmosphere. There were no instructions to follow, no one dared to speak, it was a terrible silence. No one could open their mouths. This silence had lasted 30 seconds. The student on stage began to speak. My name is Horikita Manabu, and I am the vice president of the student council. Horikita. I looked at Horikita beside me. I wonder if they're related. More importantly, does your brother have a talent? Until now, everyone has proudly introduced themselves, boasting about their talent, something like a status symbol, but he didn't do it. Why is that? The student council is also looking for first-year members to replace those who graduate. There are no strict requirements to apply for the position, but those interested should not join another club. In general, we don't accept any candidates who participate in other clubs. His tone was gentle, but the mood remained tense. He alone silenced the entire gym. Of course, it wasn't his position as vice president of the student council that gave him that power. Horikita Manabu also had a powerful aura. His presence dominated the entire gym. Furthermore, we, the student council, are not looking for anyone with a naive way of thinking. Not only will that type of person not be elected, but they will inevitably become a stain on this school. The student council is not only responsible for regulating the students, but also has many other duties such as budgeting, events, facility management, and other duties. Yet the school expects much more. Those of you who understand can become potential candidates. After that unwavering speech, he walked off the stage and out of the building. Since no one dared to speak, none of the students did so when they left the gym. The students didn't know what would happen if they tried to speak. Everyone felt that way. At that moment only one person came up on stage, his green eyes seemed to shine as he stood in front of the microphone. After what happened with the vice president, no one dared to speak and everyone expected another powerful speech, however, the words that person said surprised everyone. I'm sorry. Horikita senpai is very serious. Sometimes Tachibana approached to whisper something in her ear. That's true, I must introduce myself first. It's a pleasure to meet my new Kouhase. I am Murasame Sashin, the ultimate student council president. Nice to meet you all. Is he the student council president? This feels strange. Yes, the vice president is supposed to have less power than the president, but why does it feel the other way around? Is it because Murasame senpai is from class 77A, that is, second year? Isn't it supposed to be the other way around? Yes, the president should be a third-year student and the vice president a second-year student. That's normal, right? I heard from a friend that Murasame senpai has been president since she was in first grade. Apparently, because of her talent and integrity, the school and the former president decided to give her the position after only half a year. Horikita senpai and the rest of the candidates lost the title of president to a first grader. How humiliating. The air in the gym became lighter and everyone became more animated again. The student council is eagerly awaiting anyone who wants to join and help us improve this school. Again, I'm sorry, Horikita senpai gets like that sometimes. After saying that, the president said goodbye and left the stage. Thanks for coming. With that, the club fair is over. We'll now open the reception area for anyone interested in joining. The reception area will only be open until the end of April, so anyone interested after that can submit their applications directly to the club. By the way, don't worry. If you decide to join the council, I can promise you'll have my full support. With the president's help, the tense atmosphere disappeared even more quickly. Shortly after, club representatives opened the reception area. Horikita still didn't move at all. Hey, what's up? Horikita didn't respond. My words didn't reach her. I decided to touch her shoulder. I could feel the softness of her perfectly ironed uniform, but what I didn't feel was a reaction from Horikita. As I was holding his shoulders I heard someone running in my direction. "Hey kid. Help me." The person who approached and hid behind me was a person with rather striking red hair and dressed in a white jacket. I was able to see how his nose was covered by a bandage. I recognized this person. He was standing next to Nigi Makoto and that Iwata guy who had almost fought Sudo in that store on the first day. But why is this person coming towards me? Wait. Kuwata-sama. Please wait. Someone came running, going so fast that no one dared to get in his way. He even left a trail of dust behind him. He was walking straight toward me. When I didn't move, he stopped. I heard his shoes squeak as he stopped inches from me. "Get away from me, lunatic. Please, Kuwata-sama. You're the ultimate all-star. My baseball club is the one for you. I don't mind giving you the position of club leader. Please join us, Kuwata-sama." The senpai who proudly spoke of his baseball club was now kneeling before Akauhai as he begged him to join, even calling him with the honorific sama. "Shut up. I already told you no. I won't be a baseball player. I'll be a musician." Iridiid Kuwata came out from behind me and faced the senpai while showing him his fists with a furious and determined look. Many people got upset and started whispering about his rude attitude toward senpai. "I'm joining the music club." Did someone say music? Joining this bizarre scene was another person. A woman with long black hair streaked with color. Ibuki is the leader of the music club. Ibuki will take you to test your musical talent. She took the all-star by the arm. "Come with Ibuki." He started to lead him away, but they barely took a couple of steps when the senpai from the baseball club stopped them. "Not so fast. He belongs to us." Yes, yes. An athlete should be with his own people. And even more so if they are from the same sport. When I realized it, the whole baseball team was stretching Kuwata. He already said he's not interested. So Ibuki takes him. Yes, yes. He decided. You can't change your mind, baseball losers. Suddenly the music club also gathered and began to pull the redeed as if it were a game of tug-of-war. Wait, don't pull. It hurts, it hurts. Looking at it closely, there are entire clubs fighting over a few people all over the gym. I can assume they're fighting to get ultimate students. In the end, the school will benefit more the more of them they have in their ranks. The one silent place became chaotic. Yes, this is the unique school called Kibougamine Koudo Ikuse. Part 4. "Oh, Ayanokoji-kun, are you back? I thought you'd already left." The considerate voice called out. "It's Sudo. My classmates Ike and Yamauchi were with him." "What's this, 3 people? You seem to get along well." Feeling a little jealous, I called Sudo. "Are you also thinking about joining a club?" "No, I was just looking." "Does that mean you thought about joining a club?" "Yes. I've been playing basketball since elementary school. I think I'll continue here." "Too. I always thought that with that body he had done some kind of exercise. I guess it was basketball." "And what about you two?" "We only came because it seemed fun and exciting. I was also hoping for some kind of fateful encounter." "What the hell? What do you mean, a fateful encounter?" I asked Ike after hearing that questionable goal and he answered. Proudly after crossing his arms. "My first goal is to have a girlfriend. So I was hoping for a fateful encounter here." "So it was that kind of thing. Having a girlfriend seems to be an essential part of Ike's ideal school life. I don't think I can achieve it. Also, that student council vice president has a strong aura. Like he rules the place. Right? He was able to silence everyone." "Yes, yes. Meanwhile, the president seems like a very harmless person." "Haha, will they be an active and passive couple?" "Ugh, what kind of thinking is that, Yamauchi?" Sudo and Ike took a step away from Yamauchi. It's not what you think. I was just making fun of them. By the way, we made a group chat for men yesterday." Yama took out his phone. "Do you want to join? It's very convenient." "Hey, are you okay?" I accepted his rather cheeky change of subject. "Of course, after all we are part of Class D." "I didn't expect that. I'm glad I was invited to a group chat. The perfect opportunity to make friends has finally arrived." As I was taking out my phone to exchange numbers, I felt Horikita release my grip and disappear into the crowd. I felt worried for her and involuntarily stopped moving. "What's going on?" "It's nothing. Let's exchange numbers." Regaining my senses, I shared my contact information with the others. Horikita has the freedom to do and go wherever she wants, and I have no right to stop her. I felt like following her for a moment but decided not to. "By the way." "Okay, I've contacted them. Now that I've accomplished my main goal, I can ask about that matter." The words spoken to me are disturbing. And when they greeted me, they said, "Are you back?" I thought you'd already left. Why? Huh? Ayanokoji, is this some kind of bad joke? Man, we saw you at the entrance. You said you wanted to come check out the clubs, but you were already leaving. I can swear I didn't do that. It may sound strange, but did I tell you where I was going? Huh? What is that strange question? Maybe he drank something. By the way, Yamuchi, back to the topic before. Yes. I remember. You said you were going to the classroom. It was Yamuchi who finally answered everything to prevent people from misunderstanding that he hit that way. Thank you, if you'll excuse me, I have to go. I ran off toward the classroom. It took me a few minutes to get there. I stood by the closed door in silence. When I open this door I will be able to confirm or deny my suspicions. I slid the door open only to find something I never expected to find. Chapter 5. I am Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. Part 1. Avnigi Makoto. I got up at 6:20 am and started cleaning up. Today is Wednesday, the third day. For some reason, I felt like leaving early today, so I left my apartment at 6:50 am on my way to school. I arrived in 8 minutes, or at 6:58 am. Since class was still a while away, I decided to wait on one of the benches in the courtyard. I went to a vending machine and bought a Panta, then sat down to drink it. SHH. The gas came out of the drink and the noise it made my mouth water. I brought the can to my mouth. Ham. But something hit me in the back of the head, the blow caused my body to jerk forward and hit me against the can. Ah. I cried as I saw the Panta fall from my hands. I quickly leaped forward, trying to grab her, but it was no use. Gravity overcame me again, and all the purple liquid spilled onto the floor. I started to complain about my dropped soda and then turned around to see what I had dropped. What I saw was something strange. A stapler. That's right, there was a black and white stapler lying there. I looked behind me, but all the windows were closed. Where did that stapler come from? Hesitating a little, I took it and since it didn't seem to belong to anyone, I put it in my pocket, then picked up the can and threw it in the trash. Then, seeing that it was 7:05 am, I headed to my classroom. Once again, I was one of the first to arrive, and our teacher, Kizukura-sensei, was one of the last. Isn't master supposed to arrive early? Fujisaki asked. Yes, Kizukura-sensei, you must be on time the rest of the days. Yes, I'll do my best. Kizukura took a deep sip from her metal thermos and then gave a refreshing sigh. Do you want some? What? No. Of course not. How can you offer me that, sensei? Ishimaru was clearly furious. Haha. Just kidding, calm down Ishimaru-kun, I would never offer alcohol to one of the students, last time I did it, the board scolded me for 3 days. That last part was said almost as a whisper that I could hardly hear. After that the class started without any problems, it was a little difficult, but I managed to follow the classes. This is not an elite school for nothing. The teaching is more advanced even if we are reviewing high school subjects. He may be drunk and unpunctual, but Kizukura-sensei is a good teacher. When I realized it was already time for recess. Hey Ms. Ono, how about we grab something to eat? Asked Kawada, who stood up as soon as the bell rang. His nose was still bandaged from everything that happened yesterday. Sorry, but my eye hurts so I have to go see Mikan-senpai. Ms. Ono stood up, the bruise on her eye I saw yesterday on her face was now covered with makeup so I could barely see it. If you'll excuse me, maybe I'll see you another time. And so he left the room. Hey Kuwatachi, can your brothers go out with you to eat today? Hagakure approached and placed her hand around Kawada's neck. TCH. Take your hands off my filthy traitor, Kawada complained as he removed Hagakure's hand from his neck. If it weren't for you guys Ms. Ono wouldn't be mad at me right now. Damn, you guys really are good friends. Ah, Iwata exclaimed angrily. He began cracking his knuckles as he approached Kawada. Are you serious? Yes, I do. Wow. Calm down bro. Ishimaru jumped to stop him. That's right, guys. When did you become such good friends? Hagakure asked. Kawada crossed his arms and left the room. Huh? Us? Yes, you. Well, I'll tell you a brotherly story of brotherhood. Sisterhood, brotherhood, do those words even exist? Ignoring the questions flooding my brain, Ishimaru continued with his lively story. My bro and I had a big argument at lunch yesterday, so to resolve our issues we decided to have a competition. A competition? Yes. An endurance competition to prove our manhood. So, who won? At my question, both of them looked away. Iwata was the first to turn around to look in my direction again. Who cares? What matters is that we're the best bros now. Iwata shook his fist at me angrily. That's right, the only thing that matters is that we're bros forever. It's okay. Okay, bro. What do you say we have a bro meal? You know what, bro? Hahaha. Ishimaru and Iwata put their arms around each other's shoulders and left the room laughing. Well, it looks like the three of us are left. 2. I have something to do today, so, Mr. Nigi, Mr. Hagakure, I'll take my leave. Huh? Something to do? Do you have plans for today, Yamadachi? That's right, Miss Celestia asked to see me at the cafeteria. I don't mean to brag, but isn't this a clear example of my superior abilities? With a smile Yamada turned around and left the room. It was at that moment that Nigi realized that only he and Hagakure remained. DCH, come on, man. Who would have thought a girl would choose Yamada over me? God, that hurts my pride as a man. Is that so? Yes, Hagakure pointed at me with her index finger, and you should feel the same. Or aren't you a man, Nijichi? Oh of course I am. Very well Hagakure closed her fist and brought it to her chest, celebrating with a bright smile, then now tell me everything. He came closer, looking at me with gossipy eyes. Tell you what? You know, how's it going with Kirajiri? What do you mean? I don't. DCH so you haven't made any progress? Then, no. I've only spoken to her a couple of times. Calm down. Your bro Hagakure will teach you how to flirt with girls. Let's go. Hagakure's arm began to tighten slightly around my neck as she dragged me out of the classroom. At that moment, I was just processing everything with dizzy eyes. It's only been 3 days, but so much has already happened, and I know it's unfortunate that there won't be a peaceful school life for me later on. Will I be able to survive in this elite school? Hagakure, where are we supposed to go? To the reserve course cafeteria, obviously. I can't flirt on an empty stomach. To the cafeteria. Wait, flirt. Ignoring my attempts to let go, the fortune teller dragged me to the cafeteria where he bought a couple of slices of pizza along with a soda. For my part, today I wanted to make a little change and bought a ham and cheese sandwich with orange juice. I see. So you've only met her 3 times. Once in our course cafeteria, which was the first day, another time when you left my room, and one last time during Kuwatachi and Mizunai's date. I see. Hey, that's right. You really have it tough, bro. Hagakure had started calling me bro, possibly to imitate the relationship that Ishimaru and Iwata had created. But I already told you that I just want to be his friend. Yes, friends, that's why you start and then slowly you understand that you love that person much more, they reject you, and you suffer a lot feeling that you should never have done it, and now you've screwed up the friendship. Hagakure, like you. Nah. No way, bro. It's just that I've given many love readings to people who were in complicated relationships, so I can talk about it without a problem. Isn't that a little cruel to your clients? Nah, I've never heard of them before, so there shouldn't be any problems, right? By the way, how about another divination? Since you're my friend, I'll give you a special discount. My divinations cost 115,000 points, but since it's you I know, I'll only charge you 114,000. Hag. The bargain, right? He interrupted me with a big smile as he pulled his crystal ball out from under his clothes. If I know, you shouldn't thank me, that's what bros do. Oh? Seriously, you're giving advice on how to be a bro? Well, here's one, bros don't abandon their bro. Iwata suddenly appeared and began to reproach Hagakure, still quite annoyed. I already told you I wasn't going to leave you. I was kidnapped by an evil god who tortured me for hours. My god, my balls. Iwata's face turned red with anger as he clenched his fists in front of his chest, as if he was ready to fight. You just didn't want to help me go out with Ms. Ono, you were jealous that I had a girl while you, a pathetic crazy old man, will be alone forever. Hey. Believe me, no woman will ever want to go out with you. Hagakure stood up and they both looked at each other with electricity coming from their gaze. Then. Today at 5 p.m. in gym number 1, there will be a club fair. For those interested in clubs, please come to gym number 1. I repeat, today. An announcement caught everyone's attention. Clubs, I think I just had an idea. Part 2. Nakatachi, are you sure about this? Yes, I trust that everything will turn out well. I replied to Hagakure. After class we were both outside the gym waiting for our classmates. Iwata appeared, waving calmly from a distance. It's nice to have someone to come with. Coming together to see the clubs, what a ridiculous idea, Ishimaru continued, coming next to her. The 4 of us present started talking a little about which club we were thinking of joining. Ishimaru mentioned that he wanted to join the student council, Iwata wanted to join the carpentry club, Hagakure was thinking of joining the walk home group. And you, Nigi? Which club are you planning to join? Me too. Yeah bro, you're not planning to make us talk about ourselves and not tell us anything about yourself, are you? And not at all. It's just that. The three of them were completely focused on me, to the point where they only made me even more nervous than I already was. They were waiting to hear something super important, but I don't really have the talent to join any clubs. This is Nigi Makoto we're talking about, that is, it's me. Someone so ordinary it almost hurts, and who only has his optimism to make him special. Ah. No, so what a joke. Well, pay me my points. Hagakure reluctantly took out her phone and reluctantly made a transaction to Iwata. The amount of points was unknown, but from Hagakure's face, I could tell it was not a few. Huh. You bet on my answer. That's right, brother, it's obvious that you're someone with complexes about your talent. Partner Nigi, you shouldn't think too much about it, after all we're all partners. BFF, I thought after my divination you'd be a little more confident, no way. Do you want me to give you a second divination? It'll only cost you 10,000 points. Quite a bargain, right? That's not a bargain at all. I'll think about it. What do you think, Lord Nigi? Wow. I jumped to the left in surprise when I suddenly heard someone's voice from the right, as there had been no one there before. While I was falling I saw that the person who had scared me was none other than Hifumi Yamada, who was watching with a smile. How did things go with cells for him to be so happy? Wah, I began to breathe heavily. I was trying to regain my composure. Yamada-kun, please don't appear like that again, maybe next time I won't be alive to tell the tale. Ahahahaha, you're like an old man Nijichi. Hagakure started to laugh. I see, I must apologize for my imprudence, I forgot that I possess the skills of a level 100 ninja, so I cannot be easily detected. A level 100 ninja. That's impressive. With that skill, you can stop all those who break the rules. Fellow Yamada, join the student council with me and help me maintain order at school. And no. I can't do it, I have to control my ability. Yamada stepped back while placing his hands in front of him to protect himself from an excited Ishimaru. With great power comes great responsibility. Ishimaru was approaching Yamada but stopped when he heard those words. He placed his hand on his chin and looked down at the ground. He was seriously reflecting on that phrase that Yamada stole from a movie. I see, what you say is true. Ishimaru suddenly widened his eyes and then bowed 90 degrees to Yamada. Comrade Yamada, I must apologize for selfishly asking you to use your abilities while completely ignoring responsibility. How dare I call myself the ultimate moral compass when you forgot something as important as responsibility. Ishimaru returned to his typical straight military-like posture and then clenched his fist in front of him as his eyes crystallized. I deeply regret my Mr. Ishimaru, Yamada muttered, hiding behind me. He was peeking the top half of his head over my shoulder, which he was holding with both arms. Calm down bro, you're scaring him. But I'm just trying to apologize. Okay. How about we go in? Yeah, let's go in, you can apologize another time bro. I understand bro. The rest of the boys began to take calm steps towards the building of gym number 1. They were the footsteps of 4 completely different people, but they were marching in the hope of finding a club that was perfect for them, which made the footsteps sound like those of one person. I smiled. It's nice how close we've become in just a few days. I hope that in the future, those united steps will be not just those 4 of us, but that all my friends and colleagues can walk together. And for the sake of that future I must. Gee guys, wait. I raised my voice, something unusual for me. Was the collective noise the 4 of them made in response as they turned their heads to look at me. Seeing that I had moved from my spot, each of them slowly began to turn around to look at me. What's up Nijichi? Yes, what's up Mr. Nigi? Are you nervous, friend? Can we help you, Comrade Nigi? The 4 responded in good humor. The truth is I invited someone else. Oh. And who did you invite, Mr. Nigi? Is it a girl? Wow, that little guy has some guts, hahaha. Comrade Nigi, why, you know the rules prohibit indecent behavior. Remember that well. I remained silent, not knowing how to respond. I'm also curious about who you invited. Hagakure, I've already told you. Seriously? And? Sorry, friend, I have a very bad memory. Hagakure scratched her head nervously. Well, never mind, who I invited is. Nigi-kun, I'm here. Someone shouted from behind me, so I turned to see the owner of that voice. Red hair, black pants, a white jacket and shirt with red accents. Yes, he's Kuwata Leon. Hey. What are you doing here? Iwata shouted as he approached him. He began to squeeze his knuckles as he approached. He must still be upset about what happened this morning. You guys, Kuwata noticed Iwata and the others' presence and his smile turned into a grimace of disgust. Are you here to ruin my life more? I can beat your face right now. Iwata raised his fist. Please wait. I stood between them. Oh Wada-kun, I invited Kawada-kun, I wanted us to fix the problems so we can all go out together again. Please calm down. The Wada lowered his fist and looked at me. I could see the veins pulsing on his face and neck, which were a deep red. His teeth were grinding, cold sweat running down my back at the thought of him about to bite me. Calm down, yes, calm down, I'm very calm, you don't have to worry about anything, Nigi. The Wada began to crack his knuckles. I swallowed. I'm very calm. The Wada raised his fist and… darkness. When I realized it, that was all there was. Part 3. Ave Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. When I slid the door open and entered the classroom, I found something that surprised me. It's illogical and irrational, it makes no sense, it couldn't make any sense. It's simply impossible. My mind quietly began to analyze the possibilities of something like this happening. After all, the one standing in front of me was unquestionably Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. Sitting in my seat and looking out the window, the brown-haired boy with dead fish eyes slowly looked at me. On his desk was a glass chess set with a game already started. So that's why Horikito always insults me. For some reason, when I see it, I can't help but feel repulsed. Perhaps it is because I understand that I am Ayanokoji Kiyotaka and therefore the person before me must be a fake. Or maybe I just hate the white in his eyes. In my eyes. Who are you? He stood up with a thunderous stomp. The soy Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. Who are you? I asked again, taking a few slow steps in his direction. Almost at the same time, he did the same. Soy Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. He spoke again, his voice indistinguishable from mine, and his manner of speaking was the same as well. Every word, every accent, every gesture, I can safely say that if I weren't a real Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, then he certainly would be. When I got close, I immediately aimed a punch at his plexus. He waited a moment, then did the same. We both blocked the blow with our left arms. Then I threw a kick that collided with one of his. I created a step's distance to regain my stance, and he did the same thing at the same time. I punched, and then our fists collided, our strength equal. It was like fighting my own reflection. To test my theory, I decided to throw a punch at his plexus, and he also threw a punch at mine. However, it was all a feint as I stopped my punch at the last moment to throw a spinning kick. Our legs collided and our stance collapsed. We took a few steps back and resumed our stance. He is able to launch the same attacks as me at the same time. Who is this person and why is he taking my identity? Pam. Clin. While he was analyzing it, he slammed his palm on the desk and all the chess pieces fell off, making a loud noise. Duck. Then he took the board and placed a chess piece on it. A white king, to be more specific. That other Ayanokoji's gaze clouded as he looked at the piece, as if remembering something bad. Does he? The soy Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. Duck. He placed another piece, this time it was a white pawn. I'm an average person. Someone who doesn't stand out. However, in the entrance exams, I achieved a perfectly balanced score of 50 points in every subject and I have a great athletic and combat level that can humiliate professionals. Tack, tuck, tack, tuck. He began to place a pile of white crystalline pieces on the desk. Even if I can get better benefits in other classes, I don't do it. Why? Tuck, tack, tuck, tack. When the white pieces ran out, he started placing the black pieces on that desk. I noticed something strange. Am I afraid of expectations? Do I not want to be in the spotlight? Am I okay with mediocrity? Why do I do what I do? In his hand he held and looked at the black king piece. Who do I want to escape from? No, rather, what do I want to escape from? He looked at the white pieces for a second. Then he put the black king back in its place. The pieces were perfectly aligned on the board and everything made sense in my head. The white pieces symbolize the information you possess, while the black pieces are the embodiment of darkness, of that fog that you don't know. If so, I can be relieved to know that he doesn't have all the information. Even so. Why are you so interested in me? The other Ayanokoji showed the pieces he had been saving. They were the white and black queen pieces. That's what I'd noticed earlier. He'd intentionally left those pieces at the end. He placed both in the center of the board. I need you. The atmosphere around him changed. Are these his true colors? Someone without a name, someone without a family, someone with nothing, someone who is in misery, someone who is listed as unborn, someone who is as if he were dead. I see where this conversation is going and I'm not liking it. That person is Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. The impostor took a couple of steps in my direction. When he was a meter away, he extended his hand. I propose you a deal. I want the identity of Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, well you want freedom. Give me the identity of Ayanokoji Kiyotaka and you can leave behind what you want to escape. You won't have to go back to that place ever again, nor will you have to stay in school. You can do whatever you want. You will be free at last, without cages or chains. I remained silent. He quickly noticed the lack of response and a sigh left his mouth. I see. Okay, I'll give you some time to think. After saying that, he walked past me. Just remember, this isn't an everyday thing. I'm giving you a great opportunity, don't waste it. He slowly began to walk towards the exit of the place. Hi. Don't let him go. Do you have an answer yet? Tell me, aren't you planning on saying anything else? No, there's nothing more to say. I see. I have to say, you disappoint me a little. Trying not to talk to get information out of me without giving me information. Do you underestimate me that much? After saying those words, he continued walking away. This time I didn't stop him, but he stopped when he was in the doorway. I'll ask you a question. Who are you? I'm Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. An average boy from Class D. Sure. The other Ayanokoji showed a small smile and now left the room. Part 4. Avnigi Makoto. Ouch, it hurts. I groaned as I slowly woke up. The light suddenly came on, making me squint. When I got used to the light, I was finally able to identify where I was. A stretcher, curtains, and medical equipment on either side of the bed. This place is definitely the Academy's infirmary, I see. Iwata must have knocked me out with that blow. Will I be on the reserve course or the main course? Hey, have you woken up yet? I heard a voice behind the curtain. I was about to answer when. Why? The same voice complained, and then the curtains flapped wildly. One of them fell, and a bundle, possibly a person, fell onto me. He was thrashing like a worm trying to get free. See, calm down. I wanted to help, but I couldn't do anything because he was moving around too much. I kept trying to stop the person who was thrashing around on my legs, thankful there was no one here or this would be hard to explain. Then she began to calm down, and a head and neck emerged from between the curtain. Instinctively, I focused on her face. She had snow-white skin with fine features, grayish-purple eyes, a mole under her left eye, and uneven plum-colored bangs. To put it simply, she was beautiful. We both fell silent. He was so close I could feel his breath against my neck. A sweet cherry scent filled my nostrils. We were silent for a few seconds until her eyes started to tear up. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Uwaya. See. She started to cry and move her body a little from left to right like some kind of worm. For some reason while she did this, she ended up pressing her body more against mine. It was only then when I saw under her neck, she was wearing a pastel pink blouse over which rested a white apron, most importantly. Her breasts were pressed against me. They looked very big and soft, maybe they are a D cup. I swallowed as I felt my cheeks heat up. At that moment I remembered, isn't she Mikan-senpai? I remembered the buddy hunt Kizakura-sensei organized. When I arrived at the infirmary, I saw her looking after Kuwata and Mizono. Sorry, she continued crying. Mikan-senpai, I grabbed her by the sides of the curtain to stop her. I could feel her arms stiffen a little. Ease. She squealed as she looked at me. Detranquilizate Mikan-senpai. She stayed still and silent, thank goodness, if someone came she could be in a very bad situation. Now you hate me, right? Huh? It took a while for my brain to process that sudden question. I knew it, now you hate me. Uiaya, she cried again. And no Tiodio, Mikan-senpai. Really? She stopped crying and looked at me, her eyes still glazed over. Really? Why yes. Mikan-senpai, you were taking care of me while I was unconscious, right? I wouldn't be able to hate a person as good as Mikan-senpai. Her face, slightly red from crying, turned even redder. Thank you, really, thank you. She thanked me as she buried her face in my chest. I could feel mucus and tears staining my clothes, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to make her cry again. You have nothing to thank me for, I'm just telling the truth, Mikan-senpai, I replied as I brought one of my hands to her head. I don't even know why, but I began to stroke her head while smiling. Mikan raised her head and looked at me. Then Nigi-kun. You can call me Nigi, after all you are my superior, right? I'm not superior to anyone. Nonsense. Mikan-senpai is incredibly talented, isn't she? You're better than many people. I include myself on that list. She looked at me silently. I know I'm not much good B, but if it's Nigi-kuti Nigi S if it's Nigi who asks me, then I'll do it. Mikan looked away as she said that. And Nigi. See, Mikan-senpai. Do you want to touch my breasts? Calm down, you must have heard wrong. Mikan-senpai. See, could you repeat what you just said? Please don't do it. I began to struggle to control my reddened face and Mikan-senpai's crying, who hid back behind the curtain like a turtle hiding. And I don't mean that I didn't want to be but Mikan-senpai, that's not right. SOUW want to hit me? I can also go buy you something if you like, or I can serve as a target, he offered, while sticking his head and neck out from between the bulges. Why, you could also scratch my body. Huh? Scratch you? Why yeah, my old classmates used to do that when they didn't have paper. It was really fun. She smiled even though her eyes were watery. Mikan-senpai, how long has it been? I see, then, Mikan-senpai, would you allow me to scratch your arm? Gee, please come in. She stood up, pulled back the curtain, and quickly pulled a marker from a nearby drawer. She ran over to me with a smile and handed it to me. I thanked her as I took it, then opened it and began to write on the right arm she extended toward me. It's hard to write on skin, I've never done it before, I thought. It took me a while, but I finally wrote a single question. A grave thornoy you. A breeze blew through the open window, causing her uneven hair to flutter. Mikan-senpai's eyes watered even more as she read it. Then a couple of tears began to fall. They reflected the evening light coming in from outside and showed all the colors of the rainbow as they slid down her white cheek. Mikan-senpai's lips trembled as she smiled, it was as if she couldn't help it. Why yes. I do, Nigi. She replied, her voice cracking as she used her wrists to wipe away her tears. Then I'll be in your care, Mikan-senpai. I lowered my head with a smile, yes, I don't know how long it took, but I know I want to help her so it doesn't happen again. I want her to be able to continue smiling sincerely, I want her to be able to have hope for a happy future. And I'll be in your care, and Nigi. When I raised my face I could see how Mikan-senpai was also tilting her head. The breeze increased and for some reason had brought some cherry blossom leaves from outside. The leaves filled the infirmary. I think I should help clean up. Note. I put some nice lyrics, but Nigi actually wrote something like, do you want to be my friend? Do you want to be my friend? So ugly, but hey, in the story it was a nice moment, I couldn't put those lyrics XD. I understand why you want to beat me up, why the hell do you update stories that no one reads instead of ones with over 100 views? And the answer is. There is no answer, Macron. I'm just an irresponsible lazy person who writes what he wants when he wants. Yes, I need to improve that if I ever want to be a writer. Emma Perry. In my defense, I accidentally spilled water on my computer a while back and typing on a phone is a real nightmare. The curious fact is that I was thinking of putting a drawing of Nigi and Mikan, however I thought that 2 drawings per chapter would already be great. Hahaha, who knows, maybe in the future I will put some more scenes of the 2 of them and then I will put an image of them, they make a cute couple. Mikan is the depressed one who needs affection and Nigi the source of light that will give her words of encouragement whenever she needs it, what do you think? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode and the great Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, although well, both are identical, good luck trying to guess which is the original and which is the imposter XD. Chapter 5.5 Clubs and Projects. Of Nigi Makoto. Part 1. See you, Mikan-senpai. I waved goodbye to my new friend and senpai, Mikan Sumiki. Why, yes, and, see you Nigi. She replied with a shrug. I could see on his face that he was a little sad about saying goodbye, but unfortunately I can't stay any longer. I have to go get my things that were left in the living room. I guess next time I'll have to give her a gift to apologize, but what can I get her? I don't even know Tsumiki-senpai's tastes. While I was wandering around the halls, thinking of a gift for my senpai, I ended up bumping into someone. I instinctively closed my eyes as my body fell on my butt to the ground. Ham. It was a hard blow. Ow, it hurts, I complained in a whisper as he gently stroked the impact area. Are you okay? A deep voice asked. Why yes, it was just a small fall. I opened my eyes and saw who was in front of me, Owada-kun. In front of me was none other than Mondo Owada, the ultimate biker leader, the leader of the largest and most ferocious gang in all of Japan. Yeah, it's me. Any problem? Her face turned red as she pounded her right fist into her left palm. No. None. Good. I didn't respond, and Owada didn't seem to want to continue our conversation either. Why will Owada be here? At the end of this hallway is the library. I looked at Owada's face, and he looked away. Now he was staring at a wall. He seemed to be thinking, or rather, searching for words to express something. Does he? Oh, Owada-kun. That. Have you come to see me, Owada-kun? The red on Owada's forehead changed to a blue color as he looked away again, he seemed nervous. We were silent again. Listen Nigi. Yes. The Owada muttered something I couldn't understand. Sorry. I have anger, he muttered. You have what? I have anger problems. Buck, are you deaf? Do you want me to give you a punch treatment for your ear problem? The red returned to Owada's face as he yelled at me at the top of his lungs. Luckily it's late and there's no one around, or we would have definitely drawn too much attention. Oh, it's okay. I'm fine, B, but thanks for the offer Wada-kun. I stepped back and covered my face with my arms in a hopeful attempt to make the blow that was about to fall on me less painful. Alright, bro. Iwata gave a thumbs up with a smile. That's not what I expected, wait brother. By the way, brother, have you already decided on a club to join? And not yet, although well, the truth is that I've never been in a club, so maybe I'll go back to being one of those who go home as soon as I finish school. I'm very normal, I'll definitely be nothing more than a hindrance in the clubs, right? And you Iwata-kun? Are you going to join a club? Maybe a motorcycle club that exists? Although I doubt there is such a club, I can never deny anything in a school like this. Not at all, not at all. I'm planning on opening my own club. She replied cheerfully. Do you own a club? Yeah. It'll be the best club in school. And what would your club be? Carpentry club. He replied with a proud pose. From Carpinteria. That's right. You're not making fun of me, are you? He asked, his eyes swollen with blood. How could I do it? I accidentally raised my voice, that seemed to surprise Iwata-kun. After all, that is your dream, right? I can hear in your voice how it is something you want very much, no one could make fun of something like that. Iwata was silent for a few seconds until. Good. By the way, you have more guts than you look, Nigi. Huh? Not many dare to raise their voice at me like you did. I like you. When we graduate and leave this school, I'll definitely take you on a raid with the boys. You'll be in the back, so prepare for the cops. Ha ha ha. A raid. Police. I swallowed, I felt like my life was being threatened right now. I don't even have a motorcycle. Oh, Iwata-kun. But for now, how about joining my club? I completely ignore myself. Wait. You club. That's right, I need to gather at least 3 people to make my club official. And how many do you have now? Well. Just me. Oh, I see. Yeah, well, think about it. I have to go recruit more people, haha. After saying that, Iwata raised his hand in farewell as he left the place. In the end I didn't tell him I couldn't go on his raid. A tingling sensation shook my body. I'm in great danger. I decided to ignore the matter for the time being. Well, now where should I go? I took my electrode out of my green jacket pocket and checked the school map. Then I saw classroom 1 on the map. That's right, I had to go get my things. I had left them in the living room when I went to the clubs because well, I didn't think something like this would happen. I quickly memorized the route and then headed towards my classroom. When I arrived I slid the door open and could see who was inside. No, not this. It's no good. The crumpled ball of paper fell at my feet. Huh? I muttered as I picked it up, perhaps that made the person inside notice my presence. Oh. Good morning, buddy Nigi. Ishimaru-kun. Inside was my classmate Ishimaru Kiyotaka, who was surrounded by a dozen crumpled paper balls. The same person, haha. There were a few seconds of silence, Ishimaru looked away. I wanted to talk, but I didn't know what to say, maybe I would end up ruining things. To my delight as I was pondering what to say, Ishimaru opened his lips. Partner Nigi, he began, I offer my sincerest apologies for my bro's inappropriate behavior. He calmed down Ishimaru-kun, it's not your fault. Yes, it is. I was there and I allowed it to happen. He clenched his fist in front of his chest as his face drained of color and his eyes glazed over. If I had stopped it, this wouldn't have happened. Ishimaru must be feeling really bad. If I allow violence to occur even among my group of friends, how can I consider myself eligible to be part of the student council? Ishimaru-kun. Forget it, sorry for talking about unimportant things, have you come to pick up your things? If it matters to you, it matters to me too, after all we are friends. I looked at Ishimaru's face. I think he doesn't want to talk about that topic. That's why I'd better not talk about it. You hit the nail on the head. Have you seen my stuff? I asked, noticing it wasn't there. Oh, yeah. Roommate Sayaka Mizuno said she'd bring them to your room, haha. You should have seen how upset she was when she found out what happened, Ishimaru's gaze fell again. By the way, Ishimaru-kun. Have you decided which club to join? Ishimaru's gaze lifted again, and this time it was filled with a great fire of emotion. I will definitely be part of the student council and help enforce the school rules. That sounds very exciting. Absolutely. Do you want to join too? Perfect. Tomorrow, we'll both present the student council with a letter of 101 reasons why we should be part of the student council. Get ready. I'll go and do it right now. Ishimaru collected all the paper balls and put them in his backpack. They should go in the recyclable trash can. He muttered before leaving the place. I looked at the ball of paper in my hands, I think I forgot I had it. I felt like a bell was ringing in my head. You have obtained paper ball from Ishimaru Kiyotaka. Open SAVE. I put away the ball of paper and left the living room heading for the bedrooms. When I left school, I came across a rather strange sight. There was a stall. It was made of old wood and sheet metal. It had a blue sign with a message written in black ink. The great Yasuhiro Hagakure's fortune-telling booth, completely accurate fortune-telling. With a 30% success rate. Those last words were written in such tiny letters that I couldn't read them properly. Isn't that a scam? The place seemed almost evil. I thought about turning around and leaving, but as if by fate, someone stood up from behind the stall, looking like a zombie. "Ah, good morning world." He yawned as he stretched. It was my classmate Yasuhiro Hagakur, who had taken a short nap. Oh, his gaze fell on me. "If it's Najichi, are you here for a reading? Come, I don't bite." "Ah, Hagakur-kun." Although I preferred to stay a little away, I didn't want to be rude, so I ended up approaching Hagakur. When I got close enough, I saw him take out his crystal ball, and I still wonder where he hides it. "The same one, by the way, gave you a good blow, Wadachi." My face hurt when I remembered the blow. By the way, what happened after that? Well, Uwadachi and Kuwatachi argued and went their separate ways, then Ishimaruchi took you to the infirmary and I left the place, haha. I felt bad, as if I were the one to blame for the whole problem. My attempt to resolve the situation only made it worse. "Why you left?" "That's right," he declared proudly. "By the way, do you know what happened when Mizanachi found out what Uwadachi did?" "Why? Did Mizono-san do something?" She slapped Uwadachi so hard that he almost fell to the ground. If it weren't for Ishimaruchi, she would have surely hit him. "And how did you find out?" He hesitated nervously. "That doesn't matter now, how about we see your future?" He offered while leaving the crystal ball in the middle of the table. But I. Silence. "I'm feeling something, it's like that God wants to contact me again. I remained silent as he asked me to, although I don't say it, I am still worried about that vision. "Maybe, yes, just maybe." "Oh look, it looks like you're going to have a chili dog for lunch tomorrow, how delicious." I almost fell to the floor in surprise. What kind of revelation was that? Well, that would be 100,000 points, I'm waiting for the transfer. That's right, my divinations cost $1,000, that's a bit 114,000 yen, but since it's Najichi I'll leave it at only 100,000 yen. I had a total of 180,000 private points, would I lose more than half of my points here? "What's up, Najichi?" "I'm waiting." "You Well What stupidity." As I was searching for something to say, a familiar voice came from behind me, so I turned my head in that direction. Tagami-kun. Stupidity. That's right, you offer a service without any verified guarantee at an unreasonably high price. Besides, at what point would you even think of charging someone for a service that wasn't even requested? That's just a scam. Mine is a completely legal business. The Kuzuryu brothers are in this school, do you want us to ask them? He is. Why, how do you know that? Hagakur placed her hands and right knee forward as if to cover herself. Please, I'm the heir to the Tagami group, there's no large-scale transaction or investment that doesn't cross my desk, not even the stupidest ones. Tagami-sama. Show who's in charge of that suicidal plebeian. Someone shouted several meters behind Tagami, looking in that direction I could see Fukawa who hid behind a trash can. Hagakur didn't even have the strength to respond to Tagami. He was pale. He turned to look at me with a pleading look. By the way, have you decided to join a club? I asked. There were a few seconds of silence. No, I don't plan on wasting my talent on something as simple and banal as a club. Besides, what would be the point? I'd just be wasting my valuable time. I won't join any club if it's not my prince. Fukawa exclaimed. Silence, garbage. When Tagami turned to look at Fukawa she squealed and hid again. And you, Hagakur-kun? Are you going to join any clubs? Hagakur rejoined as if her previous attitude had never happened. No way, man. I'm not going to join a club just to boost its numbers and its funds. Besides, there aren't any clubs that particularly catch my attention. Yes, and your pathetic skills would just make you retarded. You're so cruel, Tagamichi. Hagakur slumped down onto her post and looked towards Tagami. Anyway, I'm off, peasants. Tagami passed in front of Hagakur's stall and continued on his way. I think I'll go with Tagami-kun. I decided to quickly follow Tagami to prevent Hagakur from collecting the money from me. I walked behind Tagami for a few minutes until we reached the dorms. But it's Nigi-kun. How are you, Nigi-kun? The voice stopped me as I was about to enter the elevator with Tagami-kun, who didn't wait for me and simply went up to the 5th floor. The person who raised a helping hand was my classmate, Asahina Aoi, the ultimate swimmer. Next to her was my other classmate, Igami Sakura, the ultimate martial artist. Oh. Hello Asahina-san, Igami-san. Hello. Hello. Both girls greeted each other. Tell me Nigi-kun, have you decided which club to join? Well, due to certain circumstances, I haven't been able to do any of that. I laughed nervously. I could see Fukawa start running towards the stairs. Huh? Circumstances? What circumstances? I remembered Mondo's hit and my face hurt a little. Igami frowned slightly. Did he notice my expression? Well, that doesn't matter, have you already decided? Absolutely. I'll join the swimming club. Well, I think it's normal given his talent. And you Igami-san? I'm thinking about joining a martial arts club and leading it. It will serve as training for me to properly run my family's dojo in the future. And so I see that your family runs a dojo. That's right, that dojo is our pride, my family has taken care of it for the last 300 years. That's incredible. Sakura smiled proudly. That's right. If you want to go someday, you can go, and I'll personally help you train. That training will kill me. Thank you very much P, but I don't think I need it. Well, if you'll excuse me. I said my goodbyes and walked away as quickly as possible to avoid Igami trying to put me on a deadly training diet. I wanted to take the elevator, but since I didn't want to spend too much time at the reception desk, I started taking the stairs instead. I went up to the second floor and then to the third. When I got to the fourth floor, I found someone lying curled up on the stairs. He kept his face between his knees, which he surrounded with his arms. It looks like an egg, I thought. Her white clothes and red hair made me understand who the person was there. Hey, Kawada-kun. The person in question raised his well-defined face, revealing eyes full of despair. He probably did so instinctively, as upon seeing me, he quickly lowered his gaze again. Good morning Nigi-kun. Hey, are you okay? What do you think? What happened? Boy Nigi-kun. See? How do you think stars feel? And the stars? Yeah, not the stars in the sky or any of that nonsense. I'm talking about rock stars, movie stars, sports stars, and all that. I see, so those kinds of stars. And I don't know, I'm just a pretty normal person, so I think it would be great, right? I mean being famous and talented and all that. Yeah, I thought that too. I thought it would be great. That I'd have tons of girls after me and be loved by everyone Bukya. I want to be a rock star. Kawada stood up, raising his fists, but like a flame he tried to light, but couldn't, it went out again, or so I thought, but yesterday. Kawada curled into a fetal position again, hiding his face between his legs. He must be remembering something horrible. Hey, Kawada-kun. Yesterday I was grabbed and 2 clubs started fighting over me. They didn't treat me like a person, but like a tool. They didn't even care when they hurt me in their fight. I don't know if I want to follow the path of becoming a star. Kawada buried his face further into his knees. It seems that something happened yesterday that affected him. It must have been the club's fault. Clubs? Kawada-kun. What? I might have a club where you feel comfortable. And what would that club be? The woodworking club. Carpentry club. That's right, it's a club that's just getting started. The club leader is looking for 2 more members to make it official. What do you say? I don't know, Nigi-kun. Come on. It's good to try new experiences, isn't it? I'm sure you like the club. And if you don't, you can always leave. No one's going to force you to stay. Kawada looked up but almost immediately looked away, seeming to hesitate. I must find a way to convince him. Also, you're Kawada-leon. You're the ultimate all-star, I'm sure you can do something like carpentry. You could make your own bats or a guitar or something. Kawada stood up and looked up even more than he had during our entire conversation. It's true, he gritted his teeth so hard his face turned red, then clenched his fists in front of his chest. I'm Kawada-leon. I've never needed to train, I'm a prodigy, and now this prodigy will prove his worth. Alright, Nigi-kun. Tomorrow we'll go check out that club. Shall we? Yes. I never train. That's impressive. Other than that, I'm glad I was able to help him. Part 2. Phew. I sighed exhaustedly. I had spoken with Kawada to finalize the details. Tomorrow I'll accompany him to meet the leader of the woodworking club. I kept the fact that this person is Iwata a secret to avoid further problems between them. Maybe I failed the first time, but I'm sure I can solve the problem this time. I have to do it after all. I looked at the floor as I walked into my room. I must do it to feel good. When I heard the news that Kawada and Mizuno's date failed, I thought. Once inside my room, I collapsed onto my bed. I was a little exhausted since it was already 9 p.m. I talked a lot with Mike and Senpai. However, the day wasn't over yet. I got up and walked over to the room phone. I didn't have Mizuno's contact number and I had to ask him for my things. Yes, I have no other intention. I called the dorm reception and asked for Sayaka Mizuno's contact information. After confirming the number, I thanked her and hung up. Then I looked at the contact on my phone. I swallowed. And I called. The Ian. It started to ring. The Ian. The Ian. Hello, hello. And then someone answered. I was speechless for a few seconds. I swallowed again as I thought about what to say. My body was shaking and my face began to burn. I felt the phone slip through my sweaty hands. Hello. I must speak. Mizuno-san. Hey. Nigi-kun. SC. Are you okay? Iwata-kun really went too far when he hit you. I'm so mad at her. The anger was clear in his tone. That was nothing, and, don't get mad haha. Yes, it is. Nigi-kun, you're so cute, so tender, and so sweet. And og. He dared to hit you. Mizuno continued talking, but I couldn't pay attention. My face started to burn and I felt my hogue rise even more. Beautiful. Why sweet? Oh, sweet. So, why do you need me, Nigi-kun? I forced myself to snap out of my thoughts. And you? Mizuno-san. Yes. I sensed emotion in his voice. It must be my imagination. See, can I go pick up my things? Oh, yeah, I heard, as if I'd disappointed Mizuno. Did I do something? Well, come to my room. It's 707. See you. After saying that, he hung up. I put my phone in my pocket and left my room. Then I headed to the elevator. I went in and went to the 7th floor. I went down and went to room 707, then rang the bell. Ding dong. The door slowly opened, revealing the beautiful blue-haired woman who slowly peeked out. Hello Nigi-kun, she greeted with a smile. My face grew hot again. Good evening Mizuno-san. The girl, Sayaka Mizuno, wasn't wearing her typical uniform, but rather white velvet pajamas with pink bows. She was holding my backpack, which was dark green with white and had a single strap. Are you going to sleep now? Oh. No, don't worry, I was just about to take a bath when you spoke to me, Mizuno bathing. An image of the idol in a steamy bathroom came to mind. I blushed and shook my head to get that image out of my brain. Sorry about that. I apologized. Don't worry, she must have thought I apologized for interrupting her. I'd rather not fix the misunderstanding. Well, if you want to apologize you could invite me to the palette tomorrow, I heard they have good desserts. My mouth watered as I remembered how delicious that cake I ate with Ichino-san was. Sure. Then she handed me my backpack. I'm off. I left as quickly as I could so as not to bother them anymore. Nah, I heard a murmur behind me, but instead of stopping, I kept moving forward. I felt like if I kept talking I might end up revealing that thought. I got into the elevator and went down to my floor, then into my room. I accidentally slammed the door. I left my shoes and backpack at the entrance and jumped into my bed. The day was a tiring day, I just want to. When I realized I was already asleep. Part 3. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. and after getting ready quickly I left my room heading to my classroom. Bostas. Yesterday I didn't rest very well, let's say. I walked down the street, hoping to get to my classroom without any problems, but well, it's the Kibougamine Koudo Ikuse school we were talking about. As I passed by the homeroom cafeteria, I saw a girl sitting quietly at one of the tables. He had corpse pale skin, vampire red eyes, and black hair curled in spikes. I recognized her almost immediately. She's Sells, a classmate with the title of Ultimate Gambler. Our eyes met and she gave me a serene smile that if I had to compare it to anything, it would be to the current that flows down the river from the mountain. Good morning, he greeted politely. Hello. What's wrong? Come closer, I won't bite. I stayed in my place, I felt like I was in a beast's den, meaning it would be best to stay far away. And I. Come closer, he ordered. He shrugged his shoulders, and his bright aura disappeared completely, turning into a dark and terrifying oppressive aura. Why yes. I approached. Nigi Makoto, the ultimate lucky one, right? SC. Why are you so tense, Nigi? I'm not planning on doing anything to you, She showed a small smile. I was just a little curious. Curiosity? That's right. Tell me a little about yourself. You're quite the curious person. Tell me, have you been to any clubs yet? I'm still thinking about it, what about you Sel-san? Have you thought of anyone yet? The tea ceremony club sounds quite interesting, I plan to visit their classroom later, by the way, why do you seem so worried? Well, it's almost time to go to class. And? It's 7:08. I said after checking my electrode. I must repeat myself, so what? Well, it doesn't matter. Excellent, you can sit down if you like. Changing the subject a bit, do you know about the infallible trump card in betting? Infallible trump card? Does such a thing even exist? Your face tells me no. Well, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Few people know it, although it's quite simple. Do you want me to tell you about it? Please. It's luck. Huh? Yes, it's that simple, haha. You don't need super elaborate strategies or complicated analysis. Just luck. Cell's gaze fixed on me. I wonder, in a confrontation between you and me, who would win? My luck or yours? They. She took a deck of poker cards from her clothes and placed it on the table. Do you want to find out? I swallowed. I don't want to. As I was thinking about how to respond to those words, I heard someone's footsteps approaching. Miss Sells. I have your coffee just as you asked. It was my classmate Hifumi Yamada who approached with clumsy steps with a porcelain cup and saucer in his hands. And Yamada-kun. Mr. Nigi. It's a pleasure to see you here. What brings you to speak with my lady? He asked while serving Sells a cup of coffee. Your lady? That's right, but well, that doesn't matter. Tell me, did you visit the club exhibition again after that? I grabbed my left cheek. And no, and you? Well, after that, I separated from Mr. Hagakure and checked out the clubs. And do you know what I discovered? She asked indignantly, stirring some sugar into her coffee. What? There was no doujin club. It's an affront to my entire culture. So I plan to establish the doujin club myself to do justice. Feel free to visit us anytime, we always welcome more bright and enlightened minds into the club. And more. That's right, I've already gotten some members, one of them is a boy from class 1D named Ya. What is this shit? Sells complained. Yamada and I jumped a little in surprise, neither of us expecting such a wild reaction. I told you civet coffee with 3 tablespoons of milk and 2 sugar cubes. This has 2 tablespoons of milk and 3 sugar cubes. Celestia threw the hot coffee over the call head. On. He screamed as he spun around in circles in pain, unable to figure out what to do since his glasses had also gotten wet. Do it again, and do it right this time, you useless pig. Oh, and make one for our guest. Then it won't be necessary why I have to go to class. I made my excuses and ran out. As I left, I saw Tagami throw a cup of hot coffee at Fukawa, complaining that he had 3 cups of milk and 2 cups of sugar, not 2 cups of milk and 3 cups of sugar. I think they'll get along. I thought as I saw Tagami and Cell's gaze meet. However, I did not stop to see how the situation would develop. I walked away towards the living room and in the hallway outside I met 2 other people, they were Enoshima and Ikusaba. The model today came a little different as she wore a white jacket with pink velvet and an embroidered rabbit on the right side of the chest. He was taking selfies while the soldier was constantly moving, taking steps and jumping to completely avoid the camera frame. Good morning, I said politely. Oh, good morning Migi, Ikusaba greeted me. Useless sister. Your bucking foot appeared on the bottom edge of my photo, can't you do anything right? Enoshima showed us her most recent photo where in the lower right corner you could see a few dark pixels of her shoes. Sorry, sister, Ikusaba shrugged. I wanted to intervene, but seeing how she was smiling, I decided to stay out of it. Enoshima approached and kicked Ikusaba in the legs, knocking her off her feet. He then began kicking her more while the black-haired girl simply curled up into a ball, gasping for air. Since I've been at this school, my sense of normality has been in danger of extinction. The Enoshima-san stop? I asked as I approached her. Her radiant smile changed to a look as cold as ice icicles. Who are you? I'm Nigi Makoto, why, your classmate. Nigi Makoto, I can't remember you, what was your talent? Ultimate lucky. Ah, yes, that one. And tell me her personality suddenly changed to a more childish one. Even her tone of speech changed. Why did you come to talk to me, Nei-kun? Do you want to ask me out? Unfortunately, I can't do that, Nei-kun. It's not that. You're such a herbivore, you know, not to go near this juicy piece of meat. He shouted furiously. Her face showed how angry she was and her hair was whipped around like a rock star. I need to change the subject quickly. By the way, Enoshima-san, have you decided which club to join yet? I see, researching information about your prey before attacking. You're very brilliant, Nigi-kun. Perhaps I underestimated you. She changed her tone again. Now it was more serene and calm, almost like a teacher talking to her student. Her hair was now in a big ponytail and from somewhere she had pulled out some glasses and put them on. To answer your question simply. No, neither my stupid sister nor I have decided to join a club. Now go on your way. It's okay. I walked away from the sisters and continued down the hallway to the living room. As I walked away, I could hear them muttering something, but I decided to ignore it for the sake of what little common sense I had left. When I entered the room, I could see those present. Asahina, Sakura, Fujisaki, Ishimaru, and Hey Kirajiri-san. My gaze instinctively went to that purple-haired girl who was never on time. "What's wrong?" he asked. "And it's nothing, I'm just surprised you're on time today. I can't always be late. That can affect our points." I gulped. Our points. "By the way, how did it go yesterday? I heard about what happened." My hand caressed my face again for a few seconds. I'm fine. It was nothing. It's surprising. Huh? You look like the kind of person who would break at a blow, but look at you, you managed to hold it together. I actually fainted. But naturally I didn't say any of that. If she thought it was impressive of me, is it wrong for me to want her to keep thinking about it? By the way, have you already decided which club to join? I know. I'm not interested in clubs. Why not? They just don't. There's no particular reason. There were a few seconds of silence. You should try joining one. Huh? We were both surprised at who suddenly spoke. It was the girl in the green skirt who was sitting between Ishimaru and Asahina. I mean she started to get nervous at the attention of everyone present. It's just that, well, I didn't want to join any club either, but I ended up agreeing to join the computer club and I have a lot of fun there, I think. She timidly shifted her gaze from side to side, scanning the floor with her eyes. She looks very sweet. I see, Kirajiri replied dryly. But you didn't agree to enter after all the club members knelt before you and begged you. That. Asahina, don't bother the little one. I'm not bothering her. A pleasant conversation began between the three girls, Agami, Asahina and Fujisaki. As I was about to continue my talk with Kirajiri, I could see someone approaching my seat. 10 stapled sheets of paper fell onto my desk. 101 reasons to be part of the student council. Have you prepared your 101 reasons yet, Nigi? I felt like my soul was coming out of my mouth when I remembered that it was because of preparing the 101 reasons Ishimaru asked me that I couldn't sleep properly last night. Why yes, I did. Very well, then, we will go immediately after classes to visit the student council. Are you going to the council chamber? Kirajiri asked. Comrade Kirajiri. That's right. My partner Nigi and I are going to be part of the student council. I still think it's a lot for someone as simple and normal as me. I see. May I accompany you? Do you also want to be part of the student council? We can say that I am interested. Okay, then we'll postpone our visit until tomorrow. Please prepare your 101 reasons why you should join the council. Very good. And with that the bell rang announcing the start of classes. Chapter 6. First clash between defectives and definitives. POV neutral. Part 1. Good morning Yamauchi. Good morning Ike. Ike called Yamauchi with a smile on his face as he entered the classroom. Those two, who usually arrive just in time, arrived today on time, something that surprised more than one of those present. Wow, classes are so fun I can't sleep. Yes, this school is the best. Swimming class starts soon. I mean swimming isn't a big deal, but the girls are the important part. And by girls, I mean their swimsuits. When their reason for arriving early was revealed, the girls moved away due to Ike and Yamauchi's excitement, acting as a natural repellent. Ayanokoji sat in his chair waiting for the right moment to enter the conversation and try to advance his plan of joining a group of friends. Since he hadn't made a decision yet regarding the imposter's proposal, he decided to continue with his attempt at a normal student life while he thought. The moment the conversation ended arrived and Ayanokoji was about to get up when. Hey doctor. Come here. I called someone else to continue the conversation. That completely destroyed Ayanokoji's motivation to stand up. Gyufu, did you call me? The chubby boy, nicknamed Doctor, walked towards them. His real name was Sotomura. He had earned his nickname for being the smartest of Ike's group. Doctor, can you search the girls wearing swimsuits? Leave it to me. I'll pretend to be sick and skip class to watch them. Search? What do you plan to do? Yamauchi asked. Doctor is going to classify the girls' breast sizes and try to take a photograph. Hey. If they find out, it'll be a bloodbath. Sudo joined the conversation so casually and naturally that Ayanokoji could only watch from his seat, feeling envious. Her neighbor could notice that. Sad. She didn't say lamentable, pathetic or anything similar, which showed how pitiful her neighbor was. Oh, how long have you been here, Horikita? I walked in a few minutes ago. Well, jealousy was seeping from every pore in your body. You're not thinking of becoming his friend, are you? Shut up. I have a hard time making friends anyway, Ayanokoji muttered. You don't seem to have a communication disorder, so why? Ayanokoji looked further away from Horikita. I have my circumstances. God, I can only have a conversation with you. Even if I can text with Ike and the others, in-person conversation is still difficult. I already told you not to include me on your friends list. Horikita walked away from Ayanokoji in disgust. She seemed to fit in with the girl-repellent aura of Ike and his group. No matter how low I sink, I would never become your friend. Ayanokoji hit back at Horikita. I see. I feel relieved. But the sorcerer doesn't even flinch. Ayanokoji began to wonder about Horikita's hatred for friends, but those thoughts disappeared like shit after flushing the toilet when Ike called him. Hey Ayanokoji, he shouted, beckoning her over. Ayanokoji stood up and walked towards Ike and his group with some excitement welling up inside him. What's happening? Horikita, disinterested, moved on to other things. As soon as Ayanokoji left her field of vision, he immediately left her mind as well. That's how irrelevant he was. Actually, we're going to bet on the girl's chest size, Ike spoke almost in a whisper to avoid being overheard by the girls. We even have a table for bet amounts. Sotomura took out a tablet he bought using his points and opened an Excel spreadsheet. When Ayanokoji saw the list, he saw a very professionally made file, almost like one a multinational company would make. That file was a table with all the names of the girls in the class and a space for their yet-to-be-determined breast measurements. The bets were also included in the table, along with a betting percentage. Who should I join? Ayanokoji asked, more out of trying to make friends than for the bet itself. Yes. Do it, do it. Asub was the crowd favorite with a 12.5% chance of winning. Kushida was a close second to Hasub with 11.2% of the bets. And Horikita, she was at the bottom of the table with 0%, well, that's nature. This is more detailed than I thought it would be, aren't you observing too much? Ayanokoji asked. That's because we're men. We only have breasts and asses in our minds. Ike involuntarily raised his voice, calling for attention. He quickly lowered his voice and continued speaking. So what are you going to do? It's 1,000 points minimum to join. I see. Ayanokoji, unfamiliar with his classmates, seemed hesitant. After all, he only knew Horikita and Kushida. It's okay, we're just playing. There are a lot of people to choose from. I'll do it. Me too, me too. I've been checking breast size before. Most of the boys in the class decided to join in. The raised voices reached all the girls, who looked on with disgusted expressions. I'll join in too. My bet is on Sakura. Yamauchi, the top student in the entire school, with an IQ of 10,000 and the body of an Olympic athlete, nah, who am I kidding? He's the dregs of Class D. He grabbed Ike and Doctor's shoulders and began to whisper something. I'm just telling you guys this, but I actually confessed to Sakura. Oh? What? Seriously? Ike was shocked. Yeah. But this is just between us, okay? At first, I thought it was really common. And then I saw her clothes. Those things are huge. He's referring to her tits, Ayanokoji thought. Stupid, are you proposing to her because she's big and not because she's pretty? I wouldn't date anyone unless they were on the same level as Kushida and Hasub. I'm not interested in average girls. As Ayanokoji listened to the entire conversation, he decided to place his bet on Hasub. Part 2. After lunch, the long-awaited swimming class finally arrived. Needless to say, the boys were the most excited. The girls, they'd rather keep them as far away as possible. Great. The pool is huge. Let's go together, Ayanokoji. Sure. Ayanokoji and Ike headed to the locker room. Upon arrival they began to change, everyone was wrapped in towels except for Sudo, who was calmly in a half-naked state showing off his muscular body after playing so much basketball. Sudo, aren't you embarrassed? No, I try to change as quickly as possible. If you hide, you'll only become the center of attention. No, you're actually the center of attention, Ayanokoji thought, but decided to keep his comment to himself for her sake. When the group finished putting on their swimsuits, they left the locker room. This school is truly the best. This pool is even better than any water park I've ever been to. The 50-meter indoor pool had perfectly clear water that shone in the sunlight that filtered through the windows and illuminated a small part of it. Where are the girls? I don't see them. Aren't they here yet? Ike sniffed the air unpleasantly as he searched for a feminine scent, resembling a dog in mating season. Any scientist who saw it would begin to doubt the ancestor of humanity and would go back to the foundations of our species to carefully analyze, using the scientific method, whether we did not evolve from dogs rather than monkeys. That's how powerful Ike was, his mere existence made modern science tremble. Relax, they're women, they take their time changing, Sudo commented. What would happen if I suddenly walked into the girls' locker room? Yamauchi fantasized. They'd beat you up and press charges against you, Ayanokoji replied. Don't ruin my fantasies with such a realistic answer. If you look at their swimsuits too much, they'll probably hate you. Are there any guys who don't stare? What am I going to do if I get an erection? As the boys discussed their worries about that part, Ayanokoji noticed something else. Am I speaking naturally to them? Ayanokoji didn't want to or couldn't join a group, but now he was part of Ike's group and it made him feel happy. For the first time, he'd made friends, right? True. At that moment a voice interrupted his thoughts. Wow, this pool doesn't even compare to the one at my high school. It was a female voice. All the boys, like primates, immediately stopped their conversation and began to search for where that voice came from. Did they finally arrive? Where? Where? However, after searching in all directions, they realized something. Pasib isn't here. What's this? Doctor, what's going on? There wasn't a single girl. Everyone's expectations, including Ayanokoji, were betrayed when they realized this and decided to find an answer. The doctor, behind you. What? Doctor was grabbed by the neck at his vantage point and then thrown into the pool. The girls started hanging out on the second floor right where Sotomura was before, far away from the boys. The doctor quickly recovered and got out of the water. Luckily, his tablet was waterproof and remained in perfect condition. What? What is this? What is the situation? Is this a joke? It can't be real. Ike seemed to crack and turn to dust as he tasted a spoonful of pure despair. I thought I'd see big breasts. Yamauchi fell into despair alongside Ike. Pseudo, though standing, had the look of a dead fish. But even in death, he never knelt. The girls awed the group in their screams, then they began to murmur in displeasure. Even Ayanokoji, who was only accompanied by them, received his fair share of criticism. A left hook, a right hook, and an uppercut. And KO Ayanokoji is out for the count. Ike Yamauchi stood up and faced despair. This is not the time to be sad, there are many more breasts. Why yes, inspired by his friend Ike's words, he stood back up and regained his hope. Anyone's fine. This isn't the time to get depressed. Let's go. Yeah. Even Pseudo recovered from his death-like state. The boys bumped their fists as they screamed with excitement. What are you doing? It looks fun. Someone entered the pool and caught everyone's attention. Who? Kushida-chan. Kushida entered the pool wearing a school swimsuit. Her curvaceous body was clearly visible, outlined by the suit, which seemed to be too tight. Every guy stared at Kushida within a second of her arrival. Many of them were staring at those magnificent DRE-cup breasts and that round, soft ass. Ayanokoji felt a dark presence and quickly looked in another direction. Ah, the weather is really nice today, world peace is great, he murmured. Why do you have a strange expression? The dark presence appeared and looked at Ayanokoji doubtfully. His performance a few moments ago hadn't convinced him. There is a global war going on inside me right now. Ayanokoji saved Horikita's figure in a safe folder in his brain. But at the same time Horikita was also looking at Ayanokoji. Ayanokoji-kun, do you exercise? He finally asked after finishing his observation. Huh? No. I was part of the Go Home Club, although I'm not proud to say it. Even if you say that, you're clearly exercising your arm and back muscles. Maybe I inherited good genes. I don't think that's something that's inherited through genes. What, do you have a muscle fetish or something? Is that so? Can you bet your life on that? Ayanokoji struggled desperately to change the subject. If you go so far to deny it, then I'll believe you. Horikita, although dissatisfied, decided to give in because of the annoying nature of the issue. Horikita-san, are you good at swimming? Kushida joined the conversation. I'm not particularly good or bad. In high school, I was really bad at swimming, but I practiced really hard and now I'm much better. Okay. Horikita, disinterested, walked away from Kushida to quickly finish the conversation. At that moment the physical education teacher entered the scene. He was a burly guy with a face that many girls would consider attractive. Alright, everyone gather around, he said. The boys and girls present began to gather in front of the teacher. The boys began to delight in the girls' figures while the teacher spoke. I see, 26 people. I expected more, but I guess this works. He spoke calmly, not caring that some students were skipping class. It's a bit sudden, but I'll test your skills after you finish the warm-ups. You'll have to swim. Sensei, I don't know how to swim. The boy in the class apologized somewhat embarrassedly. Don't worry. As a teacher, it's my duty to make sure you learn to swim for the summer. Well, the school is on an archipelago of islands. It would be a problem if someone fell into the water and didn't know how to swim, Ayanokoji thought. So I can go to the beach. Great. I'll make sure. Everyone learns. You'll all appreciate the swimming lessons, I guarantee it, she declared in a voice full of confidence, clearly knowing something the students didn't. Ayanokoji and Horikita had doubted that statement. Will learning to swim be helpful? She asked. Well, I guess swimming will come in handy one way. Or another. But that way of putting it is strange. Forced, I would say. He probably feels compelled to cure useless swimmers. Is that so? I think so. Then I'll assume that's the case. They ended their conversation abruptly and began doing warm-up exercises like the rest of the class. Ike stared repeatedly at the girls who were disgusted by his gaze, and more than one was already ready to give that pervert a good punch. The teacher then gave the order to swim 50 meters. Those who did not know how to swim could touch the bottom of the pool with their feet. This was an exercise to help them get used to swimming and improve their endurance. Haha, a complete victory. Did you see? That was my super swim. No, you're not that different from the others. Silence, Ayanokoji. I finished before you. Bitch. Anyway, it seems like almost everyone can swim. I quickly changed the subject. Sorry, sensei, but in high school they called me flying fish. I see, the professor smiled. Then you can start competing against each other right away. 50-meter freestyle, separate by gender. See, compete. Seriously. Flying fish retreated cowardly. I'll give a prize to first place. 5,000 points should be fine. On the other hand, last place will receive supplementary lessons, so be prepared. Duo. Since there aren't many girls, I'll divide them into 2 groups of 5 and award the best time the win. For the boys, I'll take the best 5 times and then we'll hold a final round. I didn't expect the school to give out points as a reward, Horikita muttered. Maybe it's to punish students who skipped class. Do you really think so? Isn't that a bit generous? It's a very well thought out plan. One way or the other. The participants were 16 boys and 10 girls. The girls would start first, so the boys went to the stands to cheer them on. Kushida-chan. 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 Greedo Ike. You're terrifying, lower your voice, Pseudo ordered. But Kushida-chan is so bucking cute. Her breasts are big too. The boys started whispering about the girls at the starting line. Everyone, be sure to remember this view. Today's erotic material has been secured by history. They watched like Christians watching the second coming of Jesus. Yes. Shouted all the boys present. Arata was the only one who remained decent and avoided looking at the girls. The whistle blew and the 5 girls came out. Horikita took the lead and held it, quietly securing first place. Oh. Horikita did it. 28 seconds. That's pretty fast. The boys stared at Horikita as she calmly emerged from the water. They were specifically staring at her sturdy rear end. Even Ayanokoji gave in to his most primitive instincts and looked at that place. The second to arrive was Kushida. She attracted most of the attention that left Horikita. Ooh. They cheered excitedly as they watched Kushida's breasts move with her labored breathing. When the rest of the girls came out they didn't receive as much attention as the boys apparently favored the popular Kushida. The second race began. It was quite one-sided. The girl known as Onodera won the race hands down. 26 seconds, impressive. Her time was the best while Horikita finished in second place and Kushida in fourth place. Ayanokoji approached Horikita. Those swim club members seem relentless. Second place isn't bad at all. Would you please stop feeling sorry for me? I feel disgusting just thinking about you feeling sorry for me. Sorry. It doesn't matter, do you have confidence in yourself? Obviously. I just don't have to be the last one. That's not trust. I'm not proud of that. You shouldn't be. I thought guys cared about winning and stuff. I don't really like competing with others. After all, I avoid trouble. I never had faith in you, and yet you still manage to disappoint me more and more. It's amazing. Your lessons are painful. I've simply given up trying to get first place. My only goal is to avoid extra lessons. Oh, so you ever tried to get first place? It seems the master is calling me. Don't digress, Ayanokoji-kun. Ayanokoji quickly moved away from Horikita and positioned himself in the second lane, curiously where Horikita had been. Next to him in the first lane was Sudo. The whistle blew and everyone jumped into the pool. The boys started to accelerate and the one who swept the competition was none other than Sudo. Is that possible? Sudo, you finished in 25 seconds, the teacher announced. Ayanokoji came second to last, which was very good for him since he wouldn't have to take extra lessons. Sudo, aren't you going to join the swimming club? If you practice, I'm sure you'll compete quite well. Onodera approached, trying to recruit Sudo. I plan to play basketball. Swimming is just for fun, he replied calmly as he stepped out of the pool. Ah, Sudo certainly has good reflexes. Ike spoke with jealousy of Sudo. Hi. Look, Harada is at the starting line. He's so handsome. All the girls looked at Harada, devouring him with their eyes. Remember when the boys were acting like savages? Well, the girls were acting even worse, which should be scientifically impossible. Sudo's strong body gathered the admiration and envy of the boys, while Harada's slender but toned body gathered the admiration and desire of the girls. The boys next to Sudo looked at Harada with disgust. If you win, I'll be sure to destroy you. I'll show you my full power. Weren't you just swimming for fun? Silence, Ayanokoji. The teacher blew the whistle, and the second group of boys jumped into the pool. The girls started cheering for Harada for his great swimming skills. He almost looked like a movie star. He's surprisingly fast, Sudo commented. Harada came in first place and the girls screamed with excitement. Sensei, what was the time? Ike asked impatiently. It's 26.13 seconds. Come on, Sudo, Ike encouraged. If it's you, you can win. Bring the hammer of justice down on that popular kid's head. Leave it to me. I'll completely defeat him and make his popularity plummet. Sudo was ignited by the flames of emotion. Harada-kun, you were great. You're not only good at soccer, but also at swimming. Why don't you join the swimming club? Onodera asked. Is that right? Thanks, but I'm fine at the football club. Is that so? I see. Hey, why are you looking at Harada-kun with love in your eyes? Oh? What are you saying? You're the one ogling him. Hey GGGG. The girls looked at each other ready to fight, but… Stop it, girls. Don't fight over me. I belong to all of you. I want to get along with all of you. Just because I'm good at swimming doesn't mean you should fight over me. Konji spoke with a smile as he stood at the starting line. Nobody was talking to you. Hey, why is Konji wearing those speedos? That. The girls moved away from Konji, showing some disgust in their eyes. Konji went to the starting line and the teacher blew his whistle. At that moment, everyone jumped in and Konji quickly gained an advantage over his opponents with an aggressive swim that surpassed everyone in the class. His body was like that of a professional athlete, even surpassing Sudo's. I don't really care about winning or losing, but I don't like losing, Sudo muttered to himself as he watched Konji swim. It's impressive, Harada murmured. The time is 23.22 seconds, the teacher murmured. Although she didn't raise her voice, everyone could hear her thanks to the silence produced by the surprise at seeing Konji's speed. As usual, my abdominal, posterior, and back muscles are in shape. Not bad. Konji got out of the pool and calmly began brushing his hair. Despite his aggressive swimming, he was as calm as if he hadn't done anything. Because Konji-kun and Sudo-kun are fast, I'm looking forward to the finals. Kishida said with a smile. Ah, yes, I will definitely win. Sudo shouted excitedly thinking that a cute girl was cheering him on. Sudo went to the starting line. Kishida-san, you're so fast. So fast that it's impossible to imagine you being bad in middle school, Ayanokoji said. You too, Ayanokoji-kun, are very fast. No, I'm just normal. I don't like to exercise much either. Is that so? But Ayanokoji-kun seems pretty solid. Even though you're thin, you look as strong as Sudo. Kishida looked at Ayanokoji who was starting to get nervous. There's no special reason, I was born that way. It's the truth. While they were talking, the teacher blew his whistle and the 5 boys on the starting line. Wow, Konji is fast. I thought it would be Sudo's victory, but what is this, Ayanokoji? Ike spoke as commentator. Apparently an unknown girl had jumped into the pool behind the boys and started swimming. She was so fast that she overtook the last of the boys, then she overtook the 4th, followed by the 3rd, and finally she took the lead along with Sudo and Konji. Finally she went ahead and beat them by 5 meters. Everyone was surprised as the dark-skinned girl emerged from the water with a refreshing smile. What's wrong? I didn't do anything, she said, a little confused. Hey, Asahina-chan. Onodera cried out in surprise. Oh? It's Onodera-chan. Is this your class? Sorry, I saw the pool and couldn't help myself. Konji and then Sudo exited the water. Konji wasn't fazed by being overtaken, but Sudo was quite frustrated. Part 3. Guys, this is Asahina Aoi, the ultimate swimmer. Today you'll have a class with the main class. Sorry if I forgot to mention it. The teacher introduced the girl who surpassed Konji and Sudo. On the other side of the pool, the main class students were doing some warm-ups before swimming. They arrived very late, the teacher complained. An apology. We had to gather our lost companions before coming. As the ultimate moral compass, I will receive the corresponding punishment. Do 20 laps of the pool. Understood. The Shimaru, dressed in speedos, began to do laps around the pool. The members of Class D looked at him as if they were seeing a freak. The main course is really picturesque, Horikita mentioned, to which Ayanokoji simply nodded. Both groups stood separated on either side of the pool. The main class of 16 finished their warm-ups, and the teacher had them swim 50 meters just like the rest. Let's go. Asahina began to swim, easily outpacing the rest of her group. You're very fast, Asahina. Thanks, Sakura, Asahina replied with a smile. Begami Sakura, with her great muscles that surpassed even Konji's, was the second to finish. Yeah, you're amazing. Onodera said, approaching her swimming club partner. Thank you, Onodera-chan. All the boys of Class D couldn't direct lascivious glances at Asahina and her perfectly toned slender body as they were very afraid of Sakura. Is she even a woman? Ike whispered, cowering. I prefer Sakura in our group, Yamuchi continued. Mukuro finished and silently waited for his sister. Next to finish were Iwata, Ishimaru and Kuwata. Bean. We did great, bro. And? Great, I'm finally done. So slowly all the members of the main course began to finish. It was when Enoshima Junko came out that all the boys cheered up. Woo. She waved in their direction. The boys stared at her large chest and at that moment. They cowered. They felt the mercenary's dangerous gaze and they no longer wanted to look at Enoshima's chest. Wanting to look but not being able to, how frustrating, Enoshima thought with a smile. It was then that she noticed someone hadn't looked away. Isa persona ire Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. How interesting, she thought and began to smile, then turned around, waving goodbye to Ayanokoji. Nigi Makoto finished in 10th position. The last to finish was the obese Yamada Hifumi. Ah, this is torture. Help me gods. He was breathing heavily. As soon as he got out of the pool, he approached a bench where he had a backpack and from it he took out a Diet Coke. He started drinking the soda as he sat down. Ah, refreshing, he sighed with satisfaction. Okay, now that you're done, it's time for you to compete. I'll split you into 2 groups by gender and each gender will split into 2 teams. I'll award 5,000 points to the fastest time in each group. Again the girls started first. Of the 4 people on the first team, it was Sakura who blew away the competition. 21.7 seconds, very well done. Thank you. The second to Sakabur was Kyoko Kirajiri who came in 2nd place. She came out in her swimsuit and some of the Class D boys applauded. But when Enoshima came out behind her, the applause grew louder. The 4th to finish was Mizono, who tried to keep up with the other 2 but couldn't. Although her legs were strong from doing so much choreography, she didn't have much strength in her arms. Fukawa, who was the 5th member of that team, had not even entered the water. Is something wrong, Fukawa? The teacher asked. I don't like water. He made a small feline-like growl. I see, but it's my duty to make sure you can swim. So please get in the water. I won't do it. Get into the water. Ordered a blonde boy, it was Byakuya Tagami. Next. Fukawa jumped into the water and began swimming to the finish. When he came out he quickly dried himself off desperately to the point that he shook himself like a dog. This caused the boys' interest to reach surprisingly low numbers. Then the second women's team entered the pool. This time it was Asahina who swept the competition. Although Mukuro was very close to her, she ultimately lost by a narrow margin. 16 seconds, amazing Asahina. Thank you, she celebrated. Mukuro, knowing that he had disappointed his sister, left the pool in 2nd place. Next came Cells and finally Fujisaki. The latter caught the attention of several boys in her class, especially Ismauchi. What a pretty girl. Yes. I think I want to ask her out. What? You don't have a chance. Don't break my hopes. The boys of Class D muttered those things as Enoshima approached his foolish sister. Didn't you say you had to face a violent current in your training? And yet you still lost. You're a stupid, useless sister and a bored. Enoshima kicked Mukuro in the stomach, knocking her into the pool. She smiled as she took the hit as her body fell into the water. Ayakisaba-san. Hey, are you okay? Makoto Nigi quickly approached Mukuro, who was floating in the water with a smile full of pleasure. A bit of saliva dripped from his mouth. Makoto couldn't understand what was happening when. There you go. Enoshima pushed him from behind, causing him to fall face first into the pool. Nigi fell directly onto Aikisaba's chest, though he didn't realize it. He felt a hard blow almost as hard as Mondo's fist and his consciousness shook. When he came to, he was sinking and he began to gasp for air. If he continued like this he would end up dying. Ah. She took a deep breath as she emerged from underwater. At first he didn't realize that he came out between Mukuro's legs. All the boys saw that, some felt sorry and others envious. Excuse me Nigi, could you get out of there? But unlike what was expected, Mukuro didn't kill him. She just calmly asked him to move away. Nigi realized where he was. Why yes. Sorry. He walked away from Mukuro and closer to the shore. Pupu, Nigi, I didn't expect that from you. Do you want to buck my sister? Enoshima sat on the stairs Nigi was about to climb. She was wearing a hexy leopard print bikini that was not banned by the school. Nigi could see Enoshima's white skin up close, it was like wet porcelain that shone in the light that reached it. Enoshima-san. Nigi tried to move away but was caught by Anishima's thin legs. "What's wrong, Nigi-kun? Do you prefer my sister over me? You're so mean, Nigi-kun," she said, taking on the persona of an innocent little girl. "And it's not just that. Are you scared now? Be a man." His personality shifted back to a more rude one, his hair twitching as he stepped on Nigi's head and dunked him into the water. "Brrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr thought he was going to faint, and Ashima let him out. Sorry Nigi-kun, I didn't mean to do that to you Nigi-kun. Her personality changed again, this time she appeared shy and nervous, mushrooms seemed to be growing out of her loose hair in two side ponytails. I'll do whatever it takes to apologize. Many of the boys heard that and couldn't help but feel envious of Nigi, but those boys had to face Mukuro's deadly gaze, which made them back off. It's time for the next team to start swimming. Get out of there, the teacher ordered. Taking advantage of that, Nigi walked away from both girls. At that moment Mukuro approached his sister. Sister, do you? I dislike it. Huh? And Ashima revealed his true colors now that everyone had their eyes on the boys at the starting line. He's a pure and good boy, so simple it bores me. But still. Even so. I can't decipher his talent. Huh? Isn't he just lucky? Shut up, and Ashima kicked Mukuro in the face, blood pouring from his nose. You're just the silly older sister. Don't try to teach your brilliant younger sister anything. You understood, sister? And Ashima asked a teacher for permission, and then she and her sister went to the infirmary after her sister broke her nose after accidentally falling. Mukuro started first, and from the entrance Ashima couldn't help but see Nigi, who was on the starting line. You're the only one who can ruin my plan. How frustrating. She had a lustful smile on her face. Don't let me down, Nigi-kun, she said, turning around and getting out of the pool. The wind carried that voice to Nigi, who was distracted looking in that direction but didn't see anyone, and Ashima had already left. The whistle blew and everyone jumped into the pool. Since Nigi was distracted he didn't notice at first. Oh. Damn. He shouted and jumped into the pool, then started swimming as fast as he could but finished in last place. Week. Mondo celebrated, finishing first with a time of 25.8 seconds, followed by Ishimaru with 27 seconds, then Leon with 30 seconds, and finally Nigi with 36. Well done, brother. You did well too, the competition was difficult for me. Gosh, I'm not that good at swimming, Leon commented. Nigi was so tired because he rushed throughout the race but still lost a lot of time. Okay, let the next group come in, the teacher ordered. Don't order me around, commoner, Tagami complained. Tagami-kun, you shouldn't do it if you don't want to, but you should know that this will affect your grade. Whatever. I'll do this because I want to. The rest of the boys lined up at the starting line, and when the whistle blew they jumped. Tagami took the lead and easily held on to the lead with a time of 26.7 seconds. His body wasn't the most athletic, but he was fit enough that he wouldn't tire just because of that. Tagami got out of the pool with his body wet. Beautiful. A girl from Class D shouted. Others agreed, Tagami was just as handsome as Harada. Get away from my man, you dirty bitches. Fukawa shouted. At that moment Tagami turned to look at her angrily. Your man? Shut up, country girl. The great Byakuya Tagami doesn't belong to anyone. After saying that he returned to his seat, and shortly after Hagakure finished in second place with a time of 34 seconds, and finally the last to finish was Yamada with 45 seconds. Very well done, I've already transferred the points to the winners. Now, the losers stay here, the rest of you can go. It's time to go to the council. Let's get ready quickly, Ishimaru said, approaching Nigi. Yes. That's when. Alright, shall we go? Kirajiri asked as she calmly stepped out of the pool. Nigi gulped as he looked at his classmate's beautiful, wet body. But there was something that Nigi missed. Hey Kirajiri-san, why do you have your gloves in the pool? That's right, even in the pool Kirigiri didn't take off his gloves. She tilted her gaze. I'll go change. And he retired. Nigi later realized that he had touched on a very personal subject. I'll have to apologize to her later, Nigi thought, guiltily. He felt terrible for the question he'd just asked. Leaving 4 people in extra classes, both groups prepared to leave. Some began to dry their wet bodies while others changed in the locker room. Nigi and Ishimaru belonged to that last group. They entered the locker room to change when. What the hell is wrong with you? More like, what's wrong with you? Do you want to die? Sudo and Mondo were arguing in the locker room, both ready to come to blows with each other. All around them everyone was watching and whispering about who would be the winner, but no one seemed willing to get between those 2 burly guys. Nigi learned the hard way why. Fighting is not allowed in the school rules. Cease hostilities immediately. shouted Ishimaru, who approached and stopped them both. Bro Mondo calmed down a little when he saw his brother arrive. Who the hell are you? Do you want me to beat you up like this guy too? Sudo continued very aggressively. Hey, don't talk to my bro like that. I'll kill you. They both argued again, this time even more intensely. At this rate, they'll end up fighting for real, Nigi thought worriedly. He didn't want to be beaten again, he wasn't a masochist, but he didn't want his partner Mondo to get in trouble for fighting either. So risking his physical integrity he decided to take action and approached both of them. It seems that at the same time he did this, another boy he didn't know was also heading to the locker room to calm his teammate down. Be quiet Iwata-kun. Yes, brother, calm down. You too, Sudo-kun. There are cameras, you'll get us in trouble. Both classes finally decided to separate their respective partners, then Nigi went out to represent the boys of the main course. Sorry about what just happened. Iwata-kun is a little temperamental. It's nothing. Our classmate is also a bit explosive. I hope this doesn't affect the relationship between our classes and we can get along. Arata was the one who came out representing the boys of Class D. I hope so too. By the way, I'm Nigi Makoto. Nice to meet you. He extended his hand. Arata Imsuke, the pleasure is mine. Arata took Nigi's hand and after closing the matter, each one went their own way. Ishimaru and Nigi got out of the pool and waited for Kirajiri. They were both holding a folder with papers inside. Nigi was a little unsure about what he had written in his 101 reasons to be on the council. Sorry to keep you waiting. Kirajiri arrived wearing her signature dark purple 6-button blazer jacket over a long-sleeved white blouse and brown tie, a short black skirt, knee-high black boots with heels, light-colored knee-high socks, and her signature black gloves with small square pyramids that she never took off. Those were a permanent reminder of the mistake I should never make. And no problem, we just got here too. Nigi replied. Oh really? And? Alright guys, let's go. Ishimaru exclaimed, starting to walk briskly toward the student council room. Nigi and Kirigi could do nothing but follow him. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.